I got the oven on and a pizza to go in there. I got a big square one. You know, JC, I'm not forgetting there. And Bernie come to your chat, and every day it was, oh, you gotta stop spamming, Billy. Cried about that Florida chat. And you let her, JC. You let Shannon. You know, I mean, I went when Tammy was on your panel. I'd go up. Yeah, JC's live. Yeah. It's the same old fucking shit. I'm glad I don't have to do that shit. And I got a panel, but I don't engage in sophomoric activity. Yeah. There's your chance again, Wiggin. Your main squeeze is live. You've been fucking sucking on that ass since I've known you. Fucking stick up for her all the time. Just when the getting gets good, you know, and they trolling me. Geez, I wish she was 17. Why does it matter to you when she was 17? Fucking hypocrite, Wiggin. You're a fucking hypocrite. A real man would come up here and face me. You're not a real man, Wiggin. You need a fucking gang.
Media Washington, D.C. has you covered. We outperform the industry by 25%, delivering real customers, not just clicks. With over 4,000 digital campaigns managed monthly, our local marketing experts provide invaluable insights and support. Whether big or small, we can do it all. Ready to grow? Visit WMAL.com and click Advertise with Us to get started today.
Civilian federal service follows countless paths, each road unique, each journey distinct. Group Term Life Insurance from WAPA has the coverage and benefits to protect you and your loved ones wherever Fed life leads. WAPA, 4 feds, 5 feds.
You're trying to stop tariffs on Canadian imports. They have a message for the president.
You cannot abuse your emergency powers to start an unjustified trade war.
With backing from Minnesota's Amy Klobuchar, Kentucky Republican Rand Paul, and others, Virginia's Tim Kaine is looking to pass a resolution that would...
It actually turns off the emergency that is the basis for the 10 and 25% tariff.
While the senator acknowledges...
Fentanyl is a real emergency in this country.
The president, in a Truth Social post today, urging Senate Republicans to vote against, saying those tariffs are key to the progress in the battle against fentanyl from Canada. The roughly 40 pounds came from Canada last year, compared to 21,000 pounds from Mexico. Scotland on WMAL and WMAL.com.
Checking your money. A choppy trading session with stocks kicking off the new trading month and quarter mixed as investors await President Trump's plans on tariffs, which will be revealed on Wednesday afternoon. Investors worry that tariffs will fuel inflation and hurt economic growth. Fox's Hillary Barsky, the Dow closing down 11 points, the NASDAQ up 150. Traffic and weather next.
If you've never had a chip cooked at beef tallow, get ready. Masa chips are made the old school way. No seed oils, no weird ingredients, just real food, corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed tallow. The crunch is insane, the taste is real, and you actually feel good after eating them. Because staying on top of your game starts with what you put in your body. Go to MasaChips.com and use code MM30 for 30% off your first order. Masa Chips, real ingredients, unreal crunch.
Hey, weekend warriors, how's a little trail therapy sound right now? Hop in. Let's go for a ride in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Tune out all those work units. We turn up that twin-turbo V6 engine. Instead of letting the kids play online, show them some epic inclines. Turn your 8-person family dinner into an exhilarating off-road adventure. The all-new Nissan Armada is here. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot be collisions of common bonus traction or conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Running a business? You know that slow phone systems and missed messages cost you opportunities. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system that streamlines communication, helps teams collaborate seamlessly, and respond to customers faster. Join over 50,000 businesses already using OpenPhone and get 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/radio. They'll even port your existing numbers from another service for free. openphone.com/radio for 20% off. Open Phone. No missed calls. No missed customers.
Hey y'all, it's Caitlin and Kane Brown here with Wayfair. As a growing family, one of our favorite things is Game Night Wayfair Edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, parcels, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Accident on the express lanes of eastbound 66 at the off-ramp to Stringfellow Road on the right side of the exit ramp. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormbutton 7 forecast.
Chilly tonight, upper 30s to middle 40s. Mainly clear. Tomorrow we're in the upper 50s to middle 60s with a mix of sun and clouds. Windy on Thursday near 80. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rudin, the first Alert Weather Center.
Right now, 58 degrees in Washington. I'm Heather Curtis. Sun News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Mark Levin.
From the bowels of a hidden funker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Let's cut to the chase here. What happened on the floor of the House today with the Republicans? You have one Republican, and she's insisting that there be an exception made for pregnant women who are members of Congress to be able to vote by proxy. And this is the family way, she was explaining, and so forth and so on. And the vast majority of Republicans said, no, we don't believe in voting by proxy. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, you can have voting by proxy for people who have terminal cancer, they're elected to the House, or have these terrible accidents and so forth and so on. I don't support voting by proxy. It's not something that was ever even discussed, let alone thought about by the original members of the House or the Senate. Things happen. If you get pregnant, you have an accident, something horrible happens, something wonderful happens, whatever it is. You either show up and vote or you don't. It's like voting generally in the public. I mean, you have to have a really big-time excuse not to show up to vote. I don't think pregnancy used to be one of them. But it's not anti-woman or anti-family. You're elected to Congress. You can have whatever private life you want. That's perfectly fine. Or terrible things happen and wonderful things happen, but you don't vote by proxy. The Democrats do that. You have to show up and vote. And so 9 of the Republicans got upset and they shut down the House of Representatives. There can be no votes for the next week. Effectively, that's what they did. Now I'm sitting here and thinking, I'm sick and tired of this crap. I am really so sick and tired of this crap. They've got a budget bill they have to pass, the Trump budget bill. They've got to get a massive tax cut in place, or we're going to have a horrific recession. We're going to lose the House, and we're going to be spending the next 2 years dealing with impeachment of Donald Trump. I'm telling you right now, I'm sick and tired of these narcissists. I am sick and tired of these prima donnas who keep using the fact that there's a very thin majority in the House to have their little friggin' tantrums. They're not going to get what they want. They don't have the votes. They couldn't persuade enough of their colleagues to get it. So you don't shut down the whole damn thing where the rest of the nation is sitting here wondering what the hell's going on with you people. We need the budget priorities. We need the money moving towards securing the border. We need to muscle up our defense. We need to slash the waste and the fraud, and there's a lot of it. Shut down the damn House of Representatives. And then there's the Senate. The House passes, by the narrowest of margins, because that's all they have, a budget that the president wanted, that we talked about. It's as good as you're going to get. But there's really no growth in it. There's a change of priorities. And it goes to the Senate. What do? They're sitting on the damn thing because they don't like certain aspects of it. Well, what are you going to do? Send it back to the House where it can't pass because the majority's so thin? I mean, seriously, folks. If they don't get Trump's budget through, and if they don't get his tax cuts through, and they need to be massive, they need to be across the board to have an impact, we're going to have a hell of a recession right in the midterms. And they're going to take the House and maybe the Senate. And so all the great progress that's been made is going to be halted. Now that's the big picture. That's the reality. That's how it works. I'm sick and tired of these imbeciles. I really am. A handful every time. A handful every time. If their arguments are so important and so persuasive, why can't they get 50 members to vote with them? They never can. They can't get 50 out of 221. They can never get 50. I think the most they ever had was like 30. But whatever. These people had 9. And so they throw in with the Democrats. You can't have this constant blackmail, this constant threatening.
We're a tiny, tiny minority. It's not even a normal minority. It's a tiny, tiny minority. Become the tail that wags the dog. No. No. There's two priorities right now, and just two. Get that damn budget passed, and let's get those tax cuts in place, because if you don't get them in place, it's going to be too late. It takes time for tax cuts to have an impact. And I'm sick and tired of tax cuts will create debts. They never have. Spending creates debts and yearly deficits. What's the difference between government spending and cutting taxes for the private sector? I'll tell you what the difference is. The government prints money, which creates inflation. The private sector doesn't print money. If the private sector, you, me, and the rest of us, can keep more of our money, it's our money. It's the private sector money. We're not printing anything. The money is used for capital investment. It's used for R&D. It's used to raise salaries, to expand businesses. It's used to invest so you can borrow money at a lower rate for a home or a car or whatever you want. Tax cuts in the private sector have nothing to do with massive government spending, where they print money and they dole it out, regardless of economic conditions or outcomes. Either you believe in market capitalism, or you believe in central government socialism. There's a distinction between the two. I know the media try and create an ambiguity. I know people on TV going, well, those tax cuts will create massive deficits. No, they don't. Even during Reagan, if you look back, the tax cuts didn't create deficits or a debt. The spending did. And he shut the damn government down 6 different times. But then what happens? Like what happened today. You get a handful of Republicans that throw them with the Democrats. And that's what they did. They didn't get their proxy voting. I've had enough of this. I've had a hell of enough of this. It can't just be the president through executive orders. Those executive orders can be reversed within the first 15 seconds of a Democrat president. The Republicans have to step up, and to their credit, the vast majority of them have. But we cannot have renegades, not because they're more conservative than the next guy, not because they're more prudential than the next guy. We cannot have renegades when we have a 3 friggin' vote majority who say, I want proxy voting for pregnant members. Or we're shutting down the whole damn House of Representatives. They sound like leftists. Gee, what did we do before in the entire history of our country? Or at least when we had women in the House and the Senate, what did they do? You know, I remember my grandmother. I remember my mother. My wife. They all got pregnant. My grandmother, they were so poor. She ran a pub in Philadelphia. That's what she did. She leased it and ran it. My mother and my father, dirt poor, in a ground apartment in North Philadelphia, started their own small business, a nursery school. She had a teacher's degree and a day camp during the summer. They did everything with their hands. They never stopped working, and they raised 3 rambunctious boys. They asked for nothing. Nothing. It wouldn't even have occurred to them. They didn't do that back then. They asked for nothing. My mother worked like a dog while she was pregnant. My wife, throughout her career, she built her career from the bottom up. Nobody handed her anything. Proud of it. To this day, proud of what she did while pregnant. having little kids. Of course it's hard. It's very hard. And it's incredibly rewarding. So I've been raised by and been around strong women who worked their entire lives while they had babies. And I got to hear these young women in Congress say that they want proxy voting if they get pregnant? Is that how it works, ladies and gentlemen, where you live? Is that how it goes? If you have a small business or you work for a small business or if you have a bodega or something like that and you get pregnant, you say, hey, over here, I want a government check. I want proxy that. No. You'll starve to death. It's incredible to me. And so we'll shut the friggin' House of Representatives down. They have a temporary majority. Who the hell knows what's going to happen in the next election? You think the Democrats waste time? They never waste time. Here we are, fighting over this, when they ought to be doing something more productive. Donald Trump is 78. He acts like he's 48. Day in and day out, he's doing things. Day in and day out. Is it too much to ask these 9 Republicans and all the rest of them, they get off their ass and do something? Is it too much to ask the Republicans in the Senate, get off your ass, get that bill in the House passed, get it on Trump's desk and sign the damn thing? Is it too much to ask to get that tax cut through and to do it now? Do it now. No, it's not too much to ask. My God. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
When I first learned about the basics of estate planning, it was driven home to me the importance of protecting my family. I recommend using Trust and Will for your own peace of mind. Trust and Will makes protecting your assets easier. Protect what matters to you most in minutes at trustandwill.com. That's right, trustandwill.com. And use offer code MARK and you'll get 20% off. That's 20% off at trustandwill.com. Offer code MARK.
Trust and Will is an online estate planning service and is not a law firm. See trustandwill.com for details.
You know, Americans love using their credit cards, one of the most secure and hassle-free ways to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com, guardyourcard.com, paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
On 95 in Newington, southbound after the Fairfax County Parkway, there is a disabled tractor trailer blocking the right lane. That is traffic jam from the Beltway. More delays southbound through Woodbridge and from Dumfries headed towards Garrisonville, Aquia. In the express lanes of 66 eastbound at the off-ramp to Stringfellow Road, there is still an incident affecting the right lane of that off-ramp. Use caution there. And in Marshall on westbound 66 at US 17, there is a brush fire reported, so use extra caution through that area. Also, some delays westbound still between the Beltway and 123 and from the Fairfax County Parkway towards Business 234. Now from GarageStoryRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Tonight, mostly clear, low around 41. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high near 62.
If you've never had a chip cooked in beef tallow, get ready. Masa chips are made the old school way. No seed oils, no weird ingredients, just real food, corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed tallow. The crunch is insane, the taste is real, and you actually feel good after eating them, because staying on top of your game starts with what you put in your body. Go to masachips.com and use code MM30 for 30% off your first order. Masa Chips, real ingredients, unreal crunch.
Hey, weekend warriors, how's a little trail therapy sound right now? Hop in. Let's go for a ride in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Tune out all those work emails and turn up that twin-turbo V6 engine. Instead of letting the kids play online, show them some epic inclines. Turn your 8-person family dinner into an exhilarating off-road adventure. The all-new Nissan Armada is here. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Blowing out your birthday candles should be easy, but if you have undiagnosed COPD, you may find yourself short of breath. Early diagnosis and treatment can add years to your life. If you have symptoms like wheezing or chronic cough, talk to your doctor and visit copdfoundation.org today.
Vince Colonnese is redefining news talk with The Vince Show.
This is unheard of in media. Dan Bongino is becoming deputy director of the FBI. I'm taking over on the Dan Bongino Show, which will now be The Vince Show. Just an advanced preview. It's going to be exhilarating. It is a reflection of your response to this program. That we get to take this thing to the next level. These gigantic shows right out the gate. This is going to be so much fun. It's unbelievable.
The Vince Show and Vince Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
I was choosing alcohol over my family. That's when I made the call. Now I'm finding better ways to cope.
Mental health care works when you make the call. Visit mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
School absences are often due to the absence of necessary resources. But when Communities in Schools is present, students are connected to the support they need to show up ready to learn. Visit communitiesinschools.org. Being present matters.
Hey, I'm Reba McIntyre. In life, you'll hear a lot of people tell you that you can do anything you want. I'm here to tell you that's true. Since I was a little girl, I dreamed of becoming a successful singer and entertainer. It took a lot of hard work, dedication, and perseverance to find my success, but it was worth it. I never gave up on my dreams. Remember, you can never have a dream come true until you've had a dream. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
This is Women's Work with Nicole Khalil.
I wish you health, physical, mental, emotional, financial, social, and most definitely spiritual.
Redefining what it means to be doing women's work.
I would rather have the temporary pain of discomfort than the avoidable pain of regret.
But hear me when I say this. Believe in something. Believe in yourself. That, more than anything, is absolutely women's work.
This is Women's Work from Believe. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Making sense of your morning.
Lots of coverage here on that developing story.
O'Connor and Company. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Larry O'Connor here getting you through your morning.
Making sense of Washington.
Asking some very specific questions, some legitimate questions.
Making sense of the double standard.
And here's the latest example.
Making sense of the headlines.
Let me break it down for you, because there's plenty to break down here.
O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor. Mornings from 5 to 9. News Talk 105.9. WMAL. Making sense of the news. WMAL's Vince Colonnese. Weekdays at noon on 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
Pregnancy is not a burden. It's a blessing. And women throughout history. I mean, I'm thinking about women who worked before the Industrial Revolution, the second great Industrial Revolution, about 1870 forward. They literally had to go down, and they did, not the men. They literally had to go to the river to clean the clothes and scrub them on the scrubbers. I mean, think about this. And the way they had to make food was so complicated and difficult, and they were pregnant, many of them. They didn't have easy ways for contraception. Look at all the modern conveniences today for everybody. By the way, this is another great reason for capitalism. But that another day. I just get really turned off by this. I really do. We, the voters, do every damn thing we can to give them a majority. It's a tiny majority. And what happens? A handful of narcissists beat their chests. They want to be known. They want to be heard. They're for women and they're for families. I guess the rest of us aren't, right? I guess the vast majority of the Republicans, many of whom are women, the vast majority of the women who didn't vote with the 9, must be something wrong with them, huh? It's like this guy, Roger Marshall. If you don't throw in with Qatar, obviously Americans are known to be racist against Muslims, way too many. And I understand that this administration deals with Qatar like the prior one and the one before that and the one before that. I don't like it. But I can't change it. I talk about it. That said, on this issue, it's crazy. It's really doing the work, not just of the Democrats, but those who are destroying the country. This election was about saving the country. If 9 of these bird brains, 9 of these numbskulls, think that their issue is so important, this time is precious. The clock is ticking, America. We could lose the House. If the economy turns south, we will lose the House, which is why I'm so furious here. We got to get these tax cuts in place. Reagan knew it. John Kennedy knew it. Trump knew it in the first term. He knows it right now. We've got to get these tax cuts in place to get the economy kicking. Tax cuts don't cause inflation. Government causes inflation. Milton Friedman could have taught you that. Tax cuts don't create debt and deficits. Spending does. The government does. Do they care about debt and deficits? When they're printing money, when they're passing $2 trillion phony bills, the Inflation Reduction Act, which is the opposite of what it says, they don't care about debt and deficits. We do, which is why we need a tax cut to grow the economy. Now, not later. Now, what about proxy voting? Shove your proxy voting. I'll be right back.
The big media are out to stop President Trump at any cost. You know their names. They're all the same. President Trump doesn't trust the big media, nor should you. Now, millions of Americans are turning to Newsmax. Nielsen reports almost 30 million Americans tuned into Newsmax last quarter. And President Trump is one. He watches Newsmax and says it's terrific.
I'm rolling a joint.
Tune in tonight to watch Rob Finnerty's
Enjoy the
series,
side
The
chat,
Big
and
Media's War
if you don't
on
like
Trump.
to listen, mute me.
Every night, Rob Finnerty is
That's all there is to it.
big lies and gives you the straight talk you want.
If I knew how to
Find
play a
Newsmax
guitar,
on
I'd
all
play a
major
tune.
Cable systems, or
It's
download
nice
the free
out,
Newsmax
but
app
it's
on your
cool,
phone
cold. It's,
or
you know,
home TV
the
now.
sun's bright,
Millions
and it's
have
been
made
nothing
the
but
switch
cloudy
to
every
Newsmax.
fucking day.
You should too.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 6:30. I'm Heather Curtis. Breaking this hour, the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors approved a $4.7 billion budget for FY26 today, and it includes something unusual, a real property tax rate 6 cents lower than the current rate, thanks to data center growth. Based on the average homeowner's tax bill will decrease slightly from $6,337 to $6,280. And that's not the only tax cut in the approved budget. It also reduces the personal property tax on vehicles to $3.09 per $100 of assessed value, which is $1.06 lower than the current rate. The alleged East Coast leader of MS-13 is ordered to stay in custody in federal prison after a court hearing today following his arrest last week by federal and local law enforcement at a home in Dale City. Henry Josue Villatorio Santos is charged with being an illegal alien in possession of a firearm. Traffic and weather next.
75 years of research, 75 years of policy,
75 years of opportunity.
75 years of freedom.
This is 75 years of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Join us at MDA75.org.
Happy kids heal faster. That's why Starlight Children's Foundation delivers happiness through gaming, toy deliveries, and more to hospitals across the country. Learn more at starlight.org.
This is Women's Work with Nicole Khalil.
I wish you health, physical, mental, emotional, financial, social, and most definitely spiritual.
Redefining what it means to be doing women's work.
I would rather have the temporary pain of discomfort than the avoidable pain of regret.
But hear me when I say this. Believe in something. Believe in yourself. That, more than anything, is absolutely woman's work.
This is Women's Work from Believe. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Ever wonder why your business doesn't show up on online search maps, but your competitors do? It's hundreds of things. Things that Cumulus Boost can identify and fix. And that's how we boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
School absences are often due to the absence of necessary resources. But when Communities in Schools is present, students are connected to the support they need to show up ready to learn. Visit communitiesinschools.org. Being present matters.
While serving in Iraq, our vehicle was hit. They didn't think I was going to make it. I'm Latoya Lucas, and I'm a veteran. I had to learn to live with the scars, both visible and invisible.
DAV helps veterans like Latoya get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year.
My victory is overcoming my wounds so I can help other veterans.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
The Sean Ryan Show presents Peak Points. Get timeless inspiration from the very best of The Sean Ryan Show.
September 11th happens. What is the first thing that went through your head? September 12th, I'm going back in the military.
Talk about being recruited by the cartel. How do you go? Just learning how to find a new normal. One of the most tragic events in American firefighter history.
You know what comes after.
You have this beautiful life. You have these horrible experiences, yes, but you can do something with them for the greater good.
The Sean Ryan Show Peak Points. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Clarity and context for a complex world.
Going to be far more thorough and specific than ever before.
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
Imagine the hospital experience. There's a constant parade of serious doctors, countless tests, and a serious diagnosis. Scary surgeries are followed by painful recoveries. You're in the hospital for days, weeks, months. Now imagine you're a child. This is why Starlight exists. Starlight programs help kids in the hospital cope, build resilience, bolster confidence, and change their outlook. Because happiness matters. Visit starlight.org to learn more.
America's most powerful conservative voice. The Mark Levin Show. Dial in now, 877-381-3811.
Several big elections in 2 states. You know, I often wonder, why do I have to urge people to vote? It's in our own best interests, particularly when you consider who we're voting for and against. In Wisconsin, I shouldn't have to tell you Republicans need to get out and vote, but you need to get out and vote. You need to get out and vote immediately. Your polls are going to close in a couple hours. You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is the difference between this show and other talk radio shows, and this show and podcasters. They're not going to waste their time on this. I don't consider it a waste of time. I consider it a priority. They're mission-oriented. And we get out the vote for our candidates. We don't always win. We were active in the primaries in the Tea Party. Some of these guys in the Senate, some have moved on. We helped get elected right here on this program because of you. Because of you. We don't get credit for it. You don't get credit for it. I don't really care. It's like in this election. This 6th congressional district in Florida, Randy Fine. Randy Fine's been way behind in fundraising. A little bit behind or a little bit ahead in the vote tallies in these polls. As you know, I don't think much of polls. So I jumped in. We had him on last week. We had him on Monday. We've had a Levin surge. We made the entire nation aware of this race, where the nation wasn't aware of this race. Even in the people in the district were probably sick of all the commercials. We've told you folks in that district in Florida where we are heard loud and clear, you need to vote. And by the way, many of you still haven't voted. Many of you still haven't voted. Now, you can have a Marxist Islamist as your congressman because that's what this guy Wheel is. He's a Marxist Islamist. Or you can have a conservative patriot. That's your choice. It's not hard. I'm told Florida First, that was Gates's district, should be okay if Republicans turn out. So I'm focused very heavily on the Florida 6, and I'm very focused on Wisconsin. And so it's crucially important. I mean, in Wisconsin, you have everything on the line. I mean, they're going to empower the unions again. They're going to have all kinds of changes in the voting process. They're going to turn Wisconsin into California so you can never win an election again. This is what they want, one-party states. They don't want competitive elections. They want one-party states. They're trying to do that in Alaska with Murkowski. They haven't been able to pull it off because there's too many Republicans up there. But in marginal states like Wisconsin, once they pull it off, they take control. That's it. And so they'll not only cost you in Wisconsin 2 Republican congressmen, but they're going to further destroy the assembly and the state senate there and hand that over to the Democrats too. And then they will change the laws and the rules and you'll never win again. They're trying to pull this off in Minnesota. They did pull it off in California. California was a state that went Republican all the time. Look what they did to it. Now Republicans can't win crap. Oh, they keep telling us every election cycle, this is the one, but there's never one. But the combination of illegal immigration, the combination of voting by illegal aliens, the combination of taxes and regulations that chase Republicans out of these states, and on and on and on, it's all intentional. It's all about one-party control. Finally, there's some knuckleheads in the media who are regurgitating what I've been saying for 25 years, but it's true. Now, if you have an opportunity as a Republican or a conservative or as an independent who's not one of them on the left to get out and vote and demonstrate through your vote where you stand and where your state stands, why wouldn't you take that opportunity? Many people live in these deep blue states are conservatives, they're patriots. And they vote each time knowing full well they're going to lose, but they still vote. In districts that go 30, 40-point Democrat. That's not the case here. The 6th congressional district in Florida was Mike Waltz's district. It's a Republican district. I understand the Democrats have raised a crap load of money all over the country and are outspending Randy Fine. I understand all that. But that shouldn't be good enough. It shouldn't be good enough. Wisconsin, I know Republicans can win. I know for a fact Ron Johnson's a senator from Wisconsin. He was a citizen candidate. He's now won 3 terms. Even though the Republican establishment opposed him, Mitch McConnell wouldn't give him a dime. He fought them and he won. There's your example. Scott Walker won term after term. He was a tremendous governor. And he did tremendous things. You're going to have one radical, extremely radical Marxist as a Supreme Court justice who will make these federal district judges look like a joke. That's how much of a crackpot she is. So it's in your own best interest to get out and vote. Now, I'll do what I always do. And I will tell you folks who have voting going on now, many of you are in your cars. Feel you're going to go home. Maybe I'll have some spaghetti, maybe a steak. Who knows? Peanut butter and jelly sandwich, whatever. No. You go to your voting precinct first and you make a difference. So I'm telling all the people in these districts, whether it's Florida's 1st, but Florida's 6th, you're driving a vehicle of any kind, get to your polling place. There's plenty of time. But there's not all night. Get to your polling place and vote. People in the state of Wisconsin, get to your voting place and vote. Well, I'll let this one slide. No, nothing slides. The tyranny is the tyranny. That's what we're up against. Nothing slides. Go to your voting place and vote. Florida, 6th and 1st districts. Wisconsin, the whole state. Either more constitutionalists and patriots turn out, or we lose. We lose to the Marxist Islamists. It's that simple. And literally, in Florida 6, you have this guy, Wheel. He's a Marxist Islamist. He converted to Islam right after 9/11. That's kind of strange. And not only that, He's a Bernie Sanders supporter, and Bernie Sanders endorsed him. So he's basically AOC without a dress. And maybe that'll come too. Who knows? Besides, we're not judgmental here, are we? So I'm telling you right now, whomever you are, if you haven't voted, you have an obligation to yourself, to your family, and your community, and the country to vote. It's not that hard to do, you know. You don't have to take a poll tax, or pay a poll tax. You don't have to take a literacy test. You just show up and vote. That's how we won in November. More of you showed up than them. And we persuaded other people to abandon them and vote. There are people out there who are very elderly, who can't walk on their own, who are voting as I speak. There are people out there who are relatively young, strong, mentally and physically, who just decided, why should I vote? Why should I care? I'll care next time. It really matters. No, it really matters now. Right now. You're not going to hear this on Joe Rogan. You're not going to hear this with any of the podcasters. You're not going to hear it with any conservative talk show hosts. We have the biggest platform, the second biggest throughout the country. Some say the first, but I'll say the second. We have a massive audience. You folks are in it. We're on every imaginable platform, and some that aren't imaginable. Every single one. We're ubiquitous. You can't miss us if you want to catch us. We've been on podcast, satellite, AM, FM, on your iPhone, on your Android, everywhere. So hear me out. This is a duty you have to yourself and your family. I mean, these are local elections. When you're voting in a congressional district, that affects you directly. When you're voting in your state for a Supreme Court justice, that affects you directly. We talk about all this judicial tyranny that's going on to try and destroy Donald Trump's agenda. It's that simple. In Wisconsin, if you have a majority of these radical left-wing Democrats, they will destroy everything you people believe in, and she's going to be there for 10 years. And she's going to affect your children and your grandchildren. 10 years is a long time. 10 years is a long time. China keeps threatening Taiwan. Well, Mark, what would you do? You send troops? Okay. Well, the peanut gallery, shut the hell up and sit down. You contribute nothing. Let me talk to my audience. In my view, we should be giving the Taiwanese the kinds of missiles that they need to hit the major communist Chinese cities on the mainland. It's not that far. So that immediately the population understands what's taking place, and immediately the population at least has an opportunity to rise up. We find a lot of these potentates, these despots, whether they're dressed up as communists or they're dressed up as whatever they're dressed up as, that their support is very thin, and typically, even within the party, they'll knock them off. And so what I'm suggesting to our government and what I'm suggesting to the Taiwanese government is what you need are some mid-range to long-range missiles with significant capacity so that you're not just playing defense and playing catcher to their missiles. That's a loser. That's not going to do anything. They're obviously going to come by air and water. You do your very best to defend against that. There's a lot of them. But when you think about it, there may be a lot of them, but there's not 25 million of them, which is the population of Taiwan. They need to be properly armed, and I mean the citizen. The police, all law enforcement entities there, as well as the military. They need to be prepared. Some people just attack the Ukrainians. You can learn from the Ukrainians. You can learn from the Ukrainians. You can learn from the Israelis. You can learn from from people who've been outnumbered, who've been surrounded, who've been attacked. Ignore the fools on radio and TV in our country. Ignore them. This is about self-defense and survival. But you need to be able to hit the enemy. You have to be able to hit the enemy. Ask Netanyahu. Ask Donald Trump, where we're still bombing the Houthis. Still bombing the Houthis. That's got to infuriate the anti-Americaners in the Republican Party and on the hard right, not the constitutional right, who interview some of the very same people who are being attacked by us. It's okay. Go at it. Go at it. But the Taiwanese not only need to be armed up, they need to be armed up properly. China has never had any basis whatsoever for attacking Taiwan. It used to be called Formosa. Formosa was never part of mainland China. Never, ever.
Formosa.
Gordon Chang taught us that. There's never been a Formosa, or call it whatever you want to, as part of mainland China, period. Any more than the Philippine Islands that they're trying to steal have ever been part of mainland China, or the Japanese islands that they're trying to steal, or the navigable waters off the coast of Vietnam, or the coast of Australia. Funny thing, isn't it? Taiwan. Those are good people. They're a democracy. They've been a great ally. They provide us with over 80% of the computer chips that we have. They don't try to rip us off. Little island, look at the genius that comes out of Little Island. It's like Israel, tiny little country surrounded by all these big countries. Look at the genius that comes out of there. Basically, more Marxism trying to destroy a civilized country. The Middle East, it's Islamism trying to destroy a civilized country with supporting cast by Marxist countries. Same damn thing. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news. Your phone has a lot of apps. How many of them help you make sense of your world? The new WMAL app gives you the latest headlines, perspective from the voices
country, communist China.
Fucker.
I don't believe in free trade with North Korea, with Iran, with Russia, with Cuba, with Venezuela, with Nicaragua. That's Bernie Sanders. With any of these communist, fascist, Islamist regimes. No. And I do believe these other countries that put 100% tariffs on our goods and we put nothing on their goods, we do need to wake up to that. It's very problematic. But I will tell you this. While you're putting tariffs in place, you have to grow the economy. Trump gets this 100%. That's why the Trump tax cuts, even more than his tax cuts, need to go through and through quickly. That's why you can never support tariffs under Democrats, because they raise taxes, they spend massive deficits, print money, and tariffs. That's a depression. Tariffs, slashing taxes, getting spending under control. This is the Trump economic program. Can work and will work. I'll be right back.
Making sense of your world. News Talk 105.9 WMAL. This is a major wake-up call. Making sense of the news.
Today's students are tomorrow's great thinkers and innovators. But right now, millions of kids don't have the supplies they need. Donor Shoes is a nonprofit that lets you support students and teachers in your community and beyond. Learn more at DonorShoes.org.
Bravo TV star Lala Kent holds nothing back on the Give Them Lala podcast.
It's very a lot. You want the headline. Here is my interview with Vicky Gunvalson. Who did the biggest number on you? I'm not friends with Chandler anymore, which is fine. Do you feel like you guys can repair? No. Stick to what you know.
Iconic.
Absolutely fantastic. It is like the Super Bowl every episode.
Give Them Lala.
Unhinged, but also amazing TV.
Get ready.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Clarity and context for a complex world.
I'm going to be far more thorough and specific than ever before.
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
While serving in Iraq, our vehicle was hit. They didn't think I was going to make it. I'm LaToya Lucas, and I'm a veteran. I had to learn to live with the scars, both visible and invisible.
DAV helps veterans like LaToya get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year.
My victory is overcoming my wounds so I can help other veterans.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
This is my new best friend, Esther. She might look like any normal, playful puppy, but Esther's being raised to become a canine companions for independence assistance dog for a person with a disability. To get there, she needs lots of loving care and attention, plenty of exercise, and good eating habits so that she can live a long and healthy life for her future family. Visit cci.org or call 1-800-572-BARK. Raise a puppy, change a life. You can make a world of difference in the life of a person with a disability.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 7. I'm Heather Curtis. While Fairfax and Montgomery counties consider property tax hikes to close budget gaps, Loudoun County residents will see their property tax rates go down. The budget approved by the Board of Supervisors today includes a real property tax rate of about 8 cents per $100 of assessed value, 6 cents lower than the current rate. That will decrease the average homeowner's tax bill by about $57 a year. Administrator Tim Hemstreet saying in February.
Growth in data center real property continues to reduce the pressure on the residential tax base to fund the growth of services,
allowing the county to decrease the real property tax rate and personal property tax on vehicles while boosting school funding by nearly $112 million and increasing first responder pay. Maryland's Senate follows the House's lead and approves a budget that closes a $3 billion deficit through a combination of about $2 billion in cuts and $1.6 billion in tax and fee hikes, including the controversial 3% tax on IT services. Senate Minority Leader Steve Hershey says it doesn't make sense to approve that tax when the governor is trying to grow that industry in Maryland.
You cannot tax your way through to prosperity.
Democratic Senator Shelley Heddleman.
This was a tough budget.
She says she doesn't like to raise taxes, but they consider many options.
I am very proud to be making the kinds of investments that we need to make
to take care of the most vulnerable and support students. Downtown Bethesda may soon have higher buildings and more moderately priced apartments as the county council unanimously approved the Bethesda Minor Master Plan Amendment in a straw vote today.
Additional height can be achieved for the provision of MPDUs
or moderately priced dwelling units to boost more affordability in pricey Bethesda. Legislative analyst Pamela Dunn explains in one concentrated area.
To include blocks to the east of Arlington Road between Moreland Lane and below Montgomery Avenue.
The changes also include more open park space and a new rec center with a final council vote in 1 week. Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
President Trump spending the eve of what he calls Liberation Day, meeting with his trade and tariff advisors ahead of tomorrow's big tariff reveal.
Perfecting it to make sure this is a perfect deal for the American people and the American worker.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says placing new charges on foreign imports will usher in a golden age.
More jobs in your communities, which means more money, more investments, more money in your pocket. That's what the president is committed to.
Administration officials have largely downplayed concerns from economists that tariffs will spike prices. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
President Trump accusing Senator Tim Kaine of trying to put the brakes on tariffs on Canadian imports just as the U.S. is making progress on ending the fentanyl crisis. But Kaine isn't buying that reason.
The fentanyl emergency is from Mexico and China. It's not from Canada. She presented a threat assessment that had nothing about Canada.
Virginia's Tim Kaine on recent testimony from Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard. The president on Truth Social blamed Democratic weakness for the crisis, and as 21,000 pounds of the dangerous drug came into the states from Mexico last year, it was
a maximum of 43 pounds from Canada. They're actually digging into that number and finding it's probably dramatically less even than that.
Kaine, along with several others, are behind a resolution to undo the president's emergency trade actions against Canada. Scotland on WMAL and WMAL.com.
Traffic and weather next.
If you've never had a chip cooked in beef tallow, get ready. Masa chips are made the old school way. No seed oils, no weird ingredients, just real food, corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed tallow. The crunch is insane, the taste is real, and you actually feel good after eating them because staying on top of your game starts with what you put in your body. Go to MasaChips.com and use code MM30 for 30% off your first order. Masa Chips, real ingredients, unreal crunch.
Hey y'all, as a growing family, my husband and I love game night, especially when it's Wayfair edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of? Well, not too bad. Keep track by visiting Wayfair.com. You can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home. Here's Michelle Murray in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
In the district, watch out for accident activity on Penning Road near Minnesota Avenue in Northeast and on 15th Street at Marion Barry Avenue in Southeast. And still a slow go outbound on New York Avenue between the 3rd Street Tunnel and Florida Avenue and between the Brentwood Parkway and Bladensburg Road. Beltway still a slow go on the inner loop from the Leesburg Pike to River Road and from Old Georgetown Road to University Boulevard. The emergency road work, though, on the inner loop after 355 has been cleared. The outer loop is still slow from the Springfield interchange to the Wilson Bridge. Now from GarageRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwater forecast.
Scattered clouds this evening, and boy, our temperatures are going to be cooling quickly here from 50s to the 40s and pretty chilly by morning, starting out between 38 and 45 degrees with mainly clear skies, partly sunny and breezy for Wednesday afternoon with temperatures ranging between 58 and 65 degrees. I'm 7 News Chief Meteorologist Veronica Johnson in the First Alert Weather Center.
Right now, 53 degrees in Oakton, 54 in Gaithersburg, and 56 degrees here in Washington. I'm Heather Curtis on News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Mark Levin. From the underground time puzzle, deep in the bowels of a hidden bucket, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, American. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. We should have the results, it turns out, at 6th Congressional District in Florida fairly soon. We actually know how to count in Florida. California's a whole other issue because you got Newsom there, of course. He doesn't know how to count. So we'll continue here. There was a wonderful hearing conducted by Jim Jordan in the House Judiciary Committee. He had invited me to be a witness, but it was either do this show and prepare for the show or be a witness. One of these days, I'm going to be a witness. I did it in my past in the Reagan administration. I'd love to do it again. That said, I wasn't. So this was over what? Judicial tyranny. It's that simple. Individuals, radical left-wing lawyers who lied their way onto the bench were ensconced in those robes and in those courtrooms as a result of a Schumer Biden policy, among others, Obama, Clinton. You're going to hear Jamie Raskin later say that this radical left-wing judge, Boasberg, was a Bush appointee because Raskin can't help but lie. That's what Marxists do. I've explained it before. He was part of a deal to get Bush judges on the court. He was not a Bush judge, even though he was a Bush appointee, and he's a radical leftist, which is why Obama put him on the federal district court. But Raskin's not known for telling the truth. He's also a gutless one. As a matter of fact, Mr. Producer, didn't we ask Jeffrey Goldberg to come on this program of The Atlantic? You never heard back, and you tried multiple ways and multiple times? Yes. So he's a coward. He'll listen in on somebody's texts and try and make an issue out of it. But here we are, open and notorious. Yes, open and notorious. And we can't get the bastard on the program because he's a gutless, coward Democrat. Here's Jim Jordan at the hearing today. Cut one, go.
You know what's interesting? For all the left talk about democracy, they don't really trust it. Last summer, they kicked their nominee off the ballot without a vote, without an election, and they put someone else on the ballot without a vote, without an election. So, of course, they like some judge issuing orders or injunctions that stop the head of the executive branch from doing what he said he was going to do when he ran for the job and when the American people elected him. Think about it. Here in D.C., an elected judge thinks she's better equipped to determine military readiness than the commander-in-chief. An unelected judge in California thinks he gets to decide how many probationary employees work in the executive branch, not the guy who was elected to run the executive branch. Another unelected federal district judge here in D.C. thinks he gets to decide how long illegal gang member terrorists stay in our country, not the president, not the commander-in-chief. And now that same judge gets randomly assigned the Hexeth case, and he'll get to determine who the Secretary of Defense can talk to and how he has to do it, not the president. I think Americans see through this all.
Mm-hmm. Wesley Hunt, another great congressman from Texas. He had a lot to say that was intelligent, too. Cut two, go.
Democrats love to talk about democracy. They claim Donald Trump is a threat to it. They say actions taken by his administration undermine it. But let's be clear. Democrats have twisted and weaponized the word democracy into nothing more than a partisan talking point. So let me tell you what democracy is not. Democracy is not the tyranny of the majority. When 77 million Americans cast their vote for a president, and when every major swing state breaks in his favor, and when the Electoral College delivers a clear mandate, it is not democracy when a district court judge overturns the will of the American people and usurps the constitutional authority of the commander-in-chief, full stop. President Trump, along with Tom Homan, CBP, and ICE, are doing an outstanding job securing our homeland. And in just a few months, we have seen historic progress on border enforcement, gotaways are down, arrests are up, and deportations are finally happening. But now we are beginning to see that progress stall. And why? Because of the tyranny of the minority and activist judges targeting immigration executive orders. It is not the role, nor is it the authority of a single judge to undermine the commander-in-chief's constitutional responsibility to repeal an invasion. And make no mistake about it, this is an invasion. 20 million people entering our country illegally for the past 4 years is in fact the quintessential definition of an invasion.
He's really good. Really good. So is the next guy. You may have heard of him, Newt Gingrich. Got 3 to go.
There is clearly a potential constitutional crisis involving the judicial branch's effort to fully override the legislative and executive branches. 15 district judges effectively seized control of various executive branch duties in the first 6 weeks of the current presidency through nationwide injunctions. This is potentially a judicial coup d'etat. It clearly violates the Constitution and more than 200 years of American history. To set the stage for this hearing, let me mention 12 former federal judges appointed by President John Adams: Richard Bassett, Egbert Benson, Benjamin Bourne, William Griffith, Samuel Hitchcock, Philip Barton Kay, Jeremiah Smith, George Keith Taylor, Oliver Wilcott Jr., Williams McClung, Charles McGill, and Williams Tillman. President Adams appointed these federal judges on his way out of office to hamstring the incoming President Thomas Jefferson's agenda. President Jefferson concluded that impeaching the judges would take too much time. He and the Congress simply abolished the courts in which they served via the Judiciary Act of 1802. This is a constitutional balance of power. The legislative and executive branches can reshape the judiciary branch. It is a useful reminder in considering the current situation.
And I've talked about this till I'm blue in the face. What are you talking about, Mark? Just eliminate the judges, which eliminates their courtroom and their clerks and everything else. A friend of mine texted and said, hey, so-and-so had a great idea. I know, it's an idea we've been pressing here literally for years, as well as in Men in Black. And it's an idea that I've been pressing on Fox for 5 weeks, pressing on this program, pressing on The Blaze. Impeachment does not work in this circumstance. Sorry, it does not. So people can bang their heads against the wall and say we ought to try. Try what? Go to the Senate, have a vote, we lose? All you'll do is further motivate them. No, that's not what you do. You eliminate their positions. You get together with the smartest parliamentarians you have in the Republican Party in the House and the Senate and use the Budget Reconciliation Act to the extent you can, figure out some way to make at least a colorable argument and do it. Well, it could be money saving. Apparently it's more complicated than that, according to one member who spoke to me. That's got to be the primary reason, and there's other things that hang on. Well, fine. But figure it out and push it. Do the best you can, but this can't stand. Here's more Newt. Cut 4, go.
Donald Trump represents a profound, fundamental shaking up of a very deeply resistant establishment, which can be traced back to Franklin Roosevelt in 1933. You take on a system that's almost 100 years old, the system fights back. The last great bastion of power held by the left is district court judges and their allies on the Supreme Court. And they're behaving as a historian. This is a perfectly natural thing. They're doing everything they can to stop the president, who was elected by millions of Americans. They were elected by no one. But under our system, they have a certain amount of power, not nearly as much as the modern legal system believes, because the 1958 decision by the Supreme Court, which said we are supreme, is baloney. The Supreme Court is supreme in Article 3. It is not supreme over the whole Constitution. And I think we're now going to face a genuinely important historic conversation as a country about whether or not unelected judges on a randomized basis, who happen to be 92% Democrat, have the power to stop the elected commander-in-chief on item after item after item. My guess is the American people will say to the legislative branch, you got to be kidding me. And if Justice Roberts wants to cut this off, he should act now, because this is going to get worse, not better.
And he's the weak link. Even if he does something now, he should have done it now over 5 weeks ago. Really appalling. Sam Alito and the other 3 constitutionalists on the court, they saw this coming. We saw this coming. Let there be no mistake. Thanks to you in this audience, the Fox audience and the Blaze audience, thanks to all of you, this is now an issue. People were wringing their hands. They didn't know what to do. We teed it up. We've been hammering it, explaining what can be done about it over and over and over again. In fact, there's one guy on TV who was going on bragging about all the cases that he'd brought, saying that, all this talk about removing judges and so forth and so on. Sometimes you get bad rulings. Sometimes you get, bad sentencing. You just appeal it and you go on. No, you don't just appeal it and go on, because that's not this. This is a seizure of power from the executive branch. That's what this is. I'll be right back.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
If you've never had a chip cooked in beef tallow, get ready. Masa chips are made the old school way. No seed oils, no weird ingredients, just real food, corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed tallow. The crunch is insane, the taste is real, and you actually feel good after eating them. Because staying on top of your game starts with what you put in your body. Go to MasaChips.com and use code MN30 for 30% off your first order. Masa Chips, real ingredients, unreal crunch.
Hey, y'all. As a growing family, my husband and I love game night, especially when it's Wayfair edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting Wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hey, weekend warriors, how's a little trail therapy sound right now? Hop in. Let's go for a ride in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Tune out all those work emails. You turn up that twin-turbo V6 engine. Instead of letting the kids play online, show them some epic inclines. Turn your 8-person family dinner into an exhilarating off-road adventure. The all-new Nissan Armada is here. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
75 years of research, 75 years of policy,
75 years of opportunity,
75 years of freedom.
This is 75 years of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Join us at mda75.org.
We're the stronger than we look type. I've had type 1 diabetes since I was 2. The braver than you think type.
I have to take insulin shots every single day.
The type that will stop at nothing.
No more blood sugar tests.
Absolutely nothing.
No more complications.
Until type 1 becomes type none.
Support JDRF's life-changing research, and one day you'll say, I helped turn type 1 into type none. Join us now at jdrf.org.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see. Sorting out a mental health concern takes professional diagnosis and treatment. If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
In today's unpredictable world, Byrna offers a smarter, safer way to protect yourself. Trusted by over 500 government agencies, the Byrna less lethal pistol launcher is designed to incapacitate attackers without permanent harm, giving you time to escape or get help. Take Lauren's story, confronted by an aggressive man who wouldn't back down despite attempts to de-escalate. Lauren was thankful for his Byrna launcher. One shot incapacitated the attacker, allowing police to intervene without anyone suffering irreparable harm. Byrna is legal across across all 50 states, requires no background checks, and ships right to your door. Proudly assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana, over 500,000 units have been sold. For you, my listeners, get 10% off at Byrna.com/Levin. That's BYRNA.com/LEVIN. Protect yourself and your family the smart way with Byrna. You must be 18 years old, so visit Byrna.com/Levin.
Making sense of your world.
Thanks for taking my call.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Greatly appreciated.
Making sense of the news. WMAL, making sense of world events. Because those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
59% of the vote is in. You gotta love Florida, the way the voting system works. I mean, DeSantis has fixed everything, hasn't he, Rich? It's unbelievable, this guy. Super quick. I mean, in California, they're picking their noses for 3 weeks. Look at this. 59% of the vote in. Randy Fine has 53% of the vote. And Josh Wheel has a little over 46% of the vote. So we'll keep an eye on this. Democrats are going to say it's a win for them because it's close. They'll always say it's a win for them. Why do we care what they say? Is it closer than we would like? Yes. Of course it is. 61% of the vote in. It just grew. Fine has 53.4% of the vote, and Will has 45.9% of the vote. So we're getting close to a 10% spread. We'll see what happens. I think our final push may have been very helpful here, Mr. Producer, as they count these votes. As the later coming votes come in, Did we do? No, we already did that. Okay, so you heard Newt. You heard the two congressmen who are outstanding on this issue of the judiciary. Now, this is why I've made this an issue for as long as I've made it an issue. Because we've got to get a national movement, and we have, to fight this. Here's Jamie Raskin today. Now remember, when you hear Jamie Raskin, you're hearing what a Stalinist says. Not what a Stalinist would say, but one says. Cut 6, go.
Some of my colleagues should be alerted to this fact. Judge Boasberg was first named to the bench by President Bush. He was Justice Kavanaugh's roommate.
All right, let's hold on a second. I had a roommate at Penn State. I accelerated through college like high school, and I went one summer to Penn State. I took 3 courses that summer. I had a roommate. I even forget his name. We weren't best buddies, but we were quite friendly. Big guy, too. And he was an African American. And it was hilarious because I had my book, Conscience of a Conservative by Barry Goldwater, I put on my desk. And he put Malcolm X's book on his desk, Mr. Bruce. And we really hit it off. Quite friendly. Because back then, you could even be so completely different and still be friends. Or at least friendly. Not anymore. You'd be taking the spoons out of the cafeteria, gouging the other guy's eyes out. But anyway, so to say, oh, that guy was a roommate of Kavanaugh's doesn't mean anything. You see what I'm saying? You don't pick your roommates. You can sometimes, but a lot of times they're picked for you. At least they were when I went to college. So that's number one. Number 2, Boasberg. I've explained this. He says he was a Bush appointee. You know why he was a Bush appointee. Because it was a deal cut to get more Bush judges on the court. So he's a Bush appointee and a Kavanaugh roommate. So already this guy's full of crap. And then he says, in legal quarters, he's known as a very conservative judge. The third lie. Go ahead.
Known in legal quarters as a very conservative judge, but they want to impeach him because he stood up for the rule of law. Now, Democrats say all of these executive orders and actions are being struck down not because these are radical left road judges, but because the judges regardless of who appointed them, are doing their job.
92.2%, according to the Harvard study, of the judges who are doing their jobs are Democrats. 92.2%. And the judge who just ordered no more deportations of Venezuelans, 600,000 or so, issued that ruling out of Seattle, Washington, Mr. Producer. Seattle, Washington. But Jamie Raskin not only shows ankle, he shows exactly what he is. He's red through and through. He's a red. That's what he is. He knows that I know exactly who and what he is. That's why he's scared crapless to come on this program. Crapless. He's a real freak, fraud, and a phony. Cut 7, Mr. Producer. Go.
Anyone who's read any of the decision knows that what we're witnessing today is a matchless constitutional crime spree by a rogue president.
And a crime spree by a rogue president. A crime spree by a rogue president.
Wow.
When the courts order otherwise, he follows the court orders. But what about the planes turning around? That wasn't ordered the way it's supposed to be ordered. It was very defective. Even if he wanted to follow it, he couldn't have followed it. The written order came with the planes that were already in international air. I'm not going to get into all aspects of this, but they're challenging every order through the court system. That's what they're doing. Go ahead.
Contractor who has pocketed $38 billion from the taxpayers, multiples more.
$38 billion from the taxpayers. So they attacked Elon Musk. Which contracts exactly are they talking about? The ones that are saving our space program and save 2 astronauts? I'm serious about it. He's developed technologies that the federal government needs and uses, particularly on the law enforcement, on the defense side. Every country in the world is trying to get access to the Starlink and so on. What is it that Elon Musk is doing? Is he ripping us off? Is he doing federal contract because he's desperate for money from the federal government? I mean, think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Think about how they trash somebody who's actually helping make the federal government work, for God's sakes. And notice he's not up there railing against all the bloat and the fat and the fraud and the waste and the abuse. $500 billion lost every year, $100 billion lost every year out of Social Security, 4.8 million illegal aliens with Social Security cards and numbers. Notice he doesn't say a word about any of that. No. It's Musk. Personalize it, attack him, destroy him. That's Marx. I'll be right back. You know, Americans love using their credit cards, one of the most secure and hassle-free ways to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com, guardyourcard.com, paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition. When I first learned about the basics of estate planning, it was driven home to me the importance of protecting my family. I recommend using Trust and Will for your own peace of mind. Trust and Will makes protecting your assets easier. Protect what matters to you most in minutes at trustandwill.com. That's right, trustandwill.com. And use offer code MARK and you'll get 20% off. That's 20% off at trustandwill.com. Offer code MARK.
Trust and Will is an online estate planning service and is not a law firm. See trustandwill.com for details.
In Prince George's County on 95 southbound, traffic is slow from 212 to the Beltway. Now onto the Beltway, inner loop in Montgomery County, jammed up between Old Georgetown Road and Coldsville Road. Into Prince George's County, inner loop of the Beltway is stop and go between Greenbelt Mark Metro Station exit and Kenilworth Avenue. Now on the outer loop of the Beltway in Oxon Hill, you'll find it slow from St. Barnabas Road to Branch Avenue. And on the BW Parkway northbound in Riverdale, traffic is stop and go between 410 and 197. And now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Storm Watch 7 forecast.
Tonight, mostly clear, low around 41. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high near 62.
School absences are often due to the absence of necessary resources. But when communities in schools is present, students are connected to the support they need to show up ready to learn. Visit communitiesandschools.org. Being present matters.
Making sense of your world.
This is no conspiracy theory. This is a fact. Here it is.
Mark Levin, weekdays 6 to 9 p.m.
Listen to this, would you?
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news. Your phone has a lot of apps, but how many of them help you make sense of your world? The new WMAL app gives you the latest headlines, perspective from the voices you trust, and weather info to keep you in the know, all without having to remember yet another password.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Stream your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archives, all with the new WMAL app.
Thank you.
Get the WMAL app today on Google Play or the Apple App Store, and stay connected.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Growing Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
As a young adult at this point in your life, you probably have a lot of questions. Like, what's next? What does my future hold? The thing is, there's no right answer, only your answer. Your friendships, experiences, and purpose. It's all your choice. So what will you choose? As you make choices about the future, the military can be a resource for information to help bring a fulfilling path into focus. A public service message from the Department of Defense. To learn more, visit today'smilitary.com.
Vince Colonnese is redefining news talk with The Vince Show.
This is unheard of in media. Dan Bongino is becoming deputy director of the FBI. I'm taking over on the Dan Bongino Show, which will now be The Vince Show. Just an advanced preview. It's going to be exhilarating. It is a reflection of your response to this program, that we get to take this thing to the next level. These gigantic shows right out the gate. This is going to be so much fun. It's unbelievable.
The Vince Show and Vince Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
For a local news source you can trust, visit WMAL.com.
Thank God for that.
Get the day's top stories, stream your favorite WMAL shows, access our podcast archives, and more. WMAL.com. Making sense of your world online.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. They can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Making sense of your world.
I don't know where to begin.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Thanks for taking my call.
Making sense of the news.
Cat got your tongue? Cough up a fur ball and call 877-381-3811 right now from Mike Levin.
So I posted a link on all of our platforms, America, if you want to check it out. Randy Fine is the official winner. And as the votes go on, he seems to be getting further and further ahead of this guy, Josh Wheel. It's 53.7% to 45.6%, with 73% of the vote in. AP also has called the race. We're calling the race just because I trust what we do more than them. And so the bullet was dodged there. I don't think there's any doubt. In the 1st Congressional District, Mr. Producer, can you look that one up? Or how shall I do that? Let's see. Let me see if I can find this here. No, I can't really. Just bear with me, America. This is live and national. Live and national. Hold on here. Just wondering how I can do this. Mr. Producer knows how to do everything. He's going to let me know. I think I'm laughing at something totally irrelevant. But we'll take a look at well, here we are. District results, first district. There's no votes in yet. Well, that's in the Panhandle. That's why, now that I think about it. So there's an hour difference. So that polling place doesn't close for another 25 minutes. So if you live in that district of the Panhandle, Gates's old district, I strongly encourage you to vote. So that can be locked down. Wisconsin, we'll keep an eye on that. They're still voting in Wisconsin. Can you bring a victory for your own state, for your own community, for the country? I asked the Republicans and independents and conservatives who are voting. Very, very important. I want to remind you, folks, we had Mr. Fine on last week. We had him on yesterday. We endorsed him, put out a Levin surge. I'm sure the thing that had the greatest effect was President Trump, obviously. But we like to have air cover here. We give them air cover. Most of the other hosts got into it too late. They're just not paying attention to this stuff, and they have to start to. I'm not going to be doing this forever. It's just the nature of the beast. And so I try and use the format to show other people some of the things they might want to do. Obviously, we're different. They don't have to do the same thing as me, but I'm just saying there are priorities. And just because people wave things in front of your face doesn't make it a priority. Just because it's on somebody's website doesn't make it a priority. Focus on what's going on. We got involved in this Wisconsin thing several weeks ago. You saw Elon Musk involved. I didn't even know he was involved until last week because I'm not on the ground there. But we had Governor Walker, Senator Johnson on. Very, very important what's going on in that state. So even if we can have a marginal impact, and I think we have a marginal impact or more, if we lose those things, those seats, we're never going to win them. But if we win them, it's because of you folks. You folks. And we pushed very, very hard on the evening of the election for President Trump in every one of these states, talking about things that no radio host does. But why not? Why don't they? Again, this isn't an attack on anybody. I'm not even talking about anybody in specific. But it's very important to use this as we can, as long as we're able to, these microphones, these platforms, to do what we do. Or to become more activist, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So the podcasters weren't involved in this. And we love the podcasters here. Conservative Talk Radio, this program, is involved in this. I have no idea what's going to happen in Wisconsin. If the Republicans turn out, we win. If they don't, we lose. That I have an idea about. And we're doing our part. Again, we're heard all over the state. We're heard all over the country. And we try our best to make sure that we win these races, especially now. Because this isn't any joke. The battle against what the judiciary is doing started right here with you, behind this microphone. The Tea Party movement and I started right here behind this microphone. It's true. Even before there was podcasting. And by the way, we podcast too. I'm just making a point. Just making a point. Pramila Jayapal is the head of the progressives in the House. She's a Marxist. She's out of Seattle. She's hardcore bomb thrower. Listen to what she has to say about the judges. So now keep something in mind. These are the same people who have been trashing Supreme Court justices who want to pack the Supreme Court by expanding it. I am the one who's been defending the independence of the Supreme Court. Not because it's quote-unquote conservative, because in many respects it's not, thanks to the two bobbleheads. But that said, it's the independence of the Supreme Court that I've been defending, as I did in my book Men in Black many, many years ago. But I've also argued that that court and the lower courts need to stay in their lane. They must stay in their lane or they're going to destroy the construct of the Constitution. The framers knew it. Jefferson was outspoken about it. as were many at the time, including many who didn't support the Constitution for this very reason. Here's Jayapal, cut 9, go.
Perhaps my colleagues on the other side of the aisle should consider that the very reason that Donald Trump has faced more nationwide injunctions than Joe Biden is precisely because Trump is grabbing unprecedented power from Congress.
That's not how it even works. You have to have litigants who bring cases. It's not the judges are reacting because Trump's grabbing power. No, the judges are reacting because they have friends who are litigating, not literal friends, ideological friends, who are bringing these cases. And these judges are exactly what Schumer said they are, 235 progressives. So they're even ignoring the confession from the man who put them on the court. Schumer. You would think the head of the progressive, whatever they call themselves, in the House would be taking a bow, curtsy, whatever they do these days, a salute, I don't know. But instead, they want you to believe here they are, these independent, objective, nonpartisan, judicial geniuses, just sitting there, minding their own business. And then they see a tyrant, a dictator. And how has he been a dictator? By trying to manage the size of government? By trying to cut fraud out of it? By trying to figure out if payroll's going where it's supposed to go? By trying to make people show up for work? By trying to cut the size of the bureaucracy? Now that's criminal? Now that's dictatorial? Think about this. How many dictators want to reduce the size of the authority that they have, Mr. Producer? How many dictators want to reduce their bureaucracy? Think about it, America. Not many. I'm a dictator. I'm going to reduce the amount of people who report to me. I'm going to reduce the amount of money that comes into me. I'm going to reduce the amount of regulations we issue on the people. Does that sound like a dictator to you? It's ridiculous. Doesn't even make any sense. But coming from a Marxist like Pramil Jayapal out of Seattle, it's totally understandable. Totally understandable. Coming out of a Stalinist like Jamie Raskin, it's totally understandable. Tell me, how many Marxists and Stalinists are in the Republican Party? None. And this is a growing element within the base of the Democrat Party. Then over at The View, these Yentas, who have an IQ collectively of negative 47, they bring on this guy, Elie Mystal. Elie Mystal is quoted in my book, The Democrat Party Hates America. This guy's an idiot, a complete moron. Listen to this buffoon. Cut 10, go.
One of the laws you write about is playing out right now. The immigration.
This is Sonny Houston, of course, whose husband has been indicted for fraud. I don't know if they settled that yet or not. And whose ancestors owned slaves. I just thought I'd set the record straight. Go ahead.
One of the laws you write about is playing out right now, the Immigration and Nationality Act. Now, this administration is using this statute to justify the detentions and possible deportations, actually, of Visa and Green Card holders who...
All right, I want you to understand something. They are defending the Venezuelan mobsters, killers, rapists, gang members. It's an international terrorist operation. That's what it is. MS-13. So you have ABC News via The View, via this moron, bringing in Elie Mystal, who's like the most radical kook. He's like the Trotskyites of the Marxists. Guy writes for The Nation, which should tell you everything you need to know. But they bring him on The View because they don't have enough radical kooks on The View. They got to bring radical kook guests on The View. Well, they succeeded here. Go ahead.
Threat to U.S. foreign policy. What do you make of the administration's use of the act? And more broadly, is Trump really setting up a First Amendment showdown, which is what Whoopi's been talking about?
Yes, absolutely. One of my premises...
Slow down. Oh, Whoopi. You mean Karen? Karen's been talking about a First Amendment showdown. You know what? I'm going to bring a gentleman on my show Saturday. I'm not going to mention his name because, you know, the people out there who will hijack it. They'll do that after the show, which is fine once they're on. Who's a First Amendment expert, a legal beagle who really knows his stuff. We're going to bring that gentleman on, not some slob like this guy, Elie Mystal. Go ahead.
Is that
every law passed before the 1965 Voting Rights Act should be presumptively unconstitutional.
Got that? Every law passed before the 1965 Voting Rights Act should be presumptively unconstitutional. I want you to think about that. Would that include the 1964 Civil Rights Act, Mr. Producer? Would it include the 1960 Civil Rights Act, the 1957 Civil Rights Act? Would it include the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments to the Constitution? Would it include the 1866 Civil Rights Act? What is this dumb bastard even talking about? Seriously. Everything should be null and void before 1965. Do you know in a lot of the states, even early in the Republic, in the free states, blacks did vote. I write about this. And the Democrat Party hates America. Now, the Democrat Party was the party that didn't want blacks to vote, even way up into the 1950s and 60s. And I'll bet he's a Democrat, by the way. But that said, the 1965 Voting Rights Act, the technical references, it's the 1965 Civil Rights Act that followed the 1964 Civil Rights Act. The 1964 Civil Rights Act was a game changer, which is why the vast majority of Republicans in the Senate and House supported it. In fact, it was very similar to the Civil Rights Act that was drawn up by Dwight Eisenhower until Lyndon Johnson, then the Senate Majority Leader, goes up to Eisenhower and said, I'm going to vote for a Civil Rights Act, just not this one. And Ike says, what are you talking about? You got to cut the teeth out of the enforcement mechanism here. I got to take this to the good old boys in the Senate there. They're going to want to filibuster because it says civil rights in it. And I got to persuade at least some of them why I'm going to vote for it, maybe bring some with me. You got way too much enforcement in here. Eisenhower was furious. He fought it for 2.5 months. And he said, I'll get what I can get. Johnson's sitting there. So that's what he sends up. Johnson votes for it. Most of his segregationist friends do not. And when he decides to run for president on his own, he points to the fact that he was responsible, you see, for that first Civil Rights Act of the new era. He was responsible. Now, I could debate this guy left and right, but what the hell's the point? He's with the nation. He's an ideologue. He's way out there. And that's the bottom line there. Tired of scrolling through shows on TV, finding nothing but the same mind-numbing junk. Don't waste the precious little time you have with that nonsense when you could be learning something new and inspiring. Hillsdale College is offering more than 40 free online courses, and you can learn about every single one of them. About culture, about history, about philosophy, about faith. It's really fascinating. I mean, Genesis, the book of fundamental importance to Jews and Christians, the history of ancient Christian church, C.S. Lewis. The Constitution is addressed in a number of the courses. They're absolutely fantastic. Why don't you take a course? Start your course. Check it out. Go right now to levinforhillsdale.com to enroll. It's absolutely free. It's easy to get started. That's Levin for Hillsdale.com. Levin, levinforhillsdale.com. Check it out. By the way, in Wisconsin, are you voting, Republicans? Are you voting? Please? I'll be right back.
Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Blowing out your birthday candles should be easy, but if you have undiagnosed COPD, you may find yourself short of breath. Early diagnosis and treatment can add years to your life. If you have symptoms like wheezing or chronic cough, talk to your doctor and visit copdfoundation.org today.
Every time I feel my baby kick, I sing. You don't understand. I never sing. I'm not good at singing. I'm the only person I know who's been booed off a karaoke stage. But that was before I was pregnant. Today, I'm a singer with a captive audience of one. She doesn't boo me. She never will. We know how it feels We're the March of Dimes. Find out how we can help you have a healthier baby at marchofdimesbaby.org.
Making sense of your world.
This is no conspiracy theory. This is a fact. Here it is.
Mark Levin, weekdays 6 to 9 p.m.
Listen to this, would you?
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
I was choosing alcohol over my family. That's when I made the call. Now I'm finding better ways to cope.
Mental health care works when you make the call. Visit mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, professional race car driver here with cab driver Artie.
Professional cab driver.
Sorry, professional cab driver Artie. Drinking responsibly is knowing your limits. If you are over yours, ask Artie or someone like Artie to get you home safely. To learn more about drinking responsibly, go to beforeyoudrink.org.
So, you think I could take your number 26 Crown Royal race car for a spin?
Did you get out of there?
Be a champion. Drink responsibly. This message has been brought to you by the Century Council.
Making sense of your morning.
Lots of coverage here on that developing story.
O'Connor and Company. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Larry O'Connor here getting you through your morning.
Making sense of Washington.
Asking some very specific questions, some legitimate questions.
Making sense of the double standard.
And here's the latest example.
Making sense of the headlines.
Let me break it down for you, because there's plenty to break down here.
O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor. Mornings from 5 to 9. News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
Imagine the hospital experience. There's a constant parade of serious doctors, countless tests, and a serious diagnosis. Scary surgeries are followed by painful recoveries. You're in the hospital for days, weeks, months. Now imagine you're a child. This is why Starlight exists. Starlight programs help kids in the hospital cope, build resilience, bolster confidence, and change their outlook. Because happiness matters. Visit starlight.org to learn more.
The big media are out to stop President Trump at any cost. You know their names. They're all the same. President Trump doesn't trust the big media, nor should you. Now, millions of Americans are turning to Newsmax. Nielsen reports almost 30 million Americans tuned into Newsmax last quarter. And President Trump is one. He watches Newsmax and says it's terrific. So tune in tonight to watch Rob Finnerty's series, The Big Media's War on Trump. Every night, Rob Finnerty is exposing their big lies and gives you the straight talk you want. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems or download the free Newsmax app on your phone or home TV now. Millions have made the switch to Newsmax. You should too.
Making sense of your world.
There are a lot of things that really tick me off.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news. WMAL. More than just politics, because laughter is the best medicine. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
If you're in Florida or the state of Wisconsin, please vote.
Love it. All right, one down, a winner. Two to go. I think the first in Florida should be okay. You got 7 minutes to vote there. Wisconsin, you got 7 minutes too. I think your polls close at 8. I don't think they close at 9, but either way, just get out there and vote right now. I'm going to check that out, Rich, real fast while I'm doing this. Just see when they close in Wisconsin. So Wisconsin closes at 9. Okay, so this first district in the Panhandle closes in 6 minutes. Wisconsin, you have time, but not a lot. So if you're in your truck, you're in your van, you're in your car, you're in your RV, wherever you are in Wisconsin, get to your polling place before you go to wherever your end location is, please, and vote. If you're sitting at the dinner table and you hear me right now, like many of you are, wrap it up, put it in the fridge. You can always warm it up and go vote. Go vote. This is important. Go vote. There's a concerted effort to bring manufacturing back to our country, to correct our trade deficit and grow our economy. You know what I have to say to that? It's about time the rest of the country catches up with our friends at Allegiance Flag Supply. Allegiance Flag Supply has been making the highest quality American flags in the world, right here in America. Charleston, South Carolina, to be specific. And they started in a garage in 2018. It's the American dream. It's a quintessential American through and through. The owners of Allegiance weren't out to make a fortune. They were out to make an American flag in America of the top quality that flies from their homes to be made in America. I fly an American flag from Allegiance Flag Supply outside of our house on the brick wall right next to the two-car garage. And we're very, very proud of it. It is a quality flag. You go to one of these warehouse stores, it's cheap, they don't last, the flag shreds in the bad weather, the pole breaks off the wall. This is a serious flag. It's got serious hardware, all made right here in the United States by hand. It's reverently crafted by people who love this country. Brave men and women who defend it and support them. So I encourage you to visit showallegiance.com, experience the craftsmanship of a truly American-made American flag. Then use promo code LEVIN, and you'll get free shipping. How about that? Promo code LEVIN. So go to showallegiance.com. Be sure to enter promo code LEVIN, LEVIN, at checkout. Do it during the break. You're going to be proud of this flag. That's showallegiance.com for flags made in America, for Americans, the American way. That's showallegiance.com, code LEVIN, LEVIN, at checkout. The Power Hour is next. I'll be right back.
Making sense of your world.
Greatly appreciated.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
I love listening to you.
Making sense of the news.
NBA veteran Jim Jackson takes you on the court. I get a chance to dig into my 14-year career in the NBA, but also get the input from the people that will be joining. Charles Barkley.
I'm excited to be on your podcast, man. It's an honor.
Spike Lee, entrepreneur, filmmaker, Academy Award winner.
Knicks fans.
Now you see, I got you. But also how sports brings life, passion, music, all of this together. The Jim Jackson Show, part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Around the clock updates and uncommon understanding.
Listen to this, because this stuff is going on behind the scenes and you don't know about it.
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
The Sean Ryan Show presents Peak Points. Get timeless inspiration from the very best of the Sean Ryan Show.
September 11th happens. What is the first thing that went through your head? September 12th, I'm going back in the military.
Talk about being recruited by the cartel. How do you go? Just learning how to find a new normal. One of the most tragic events in American firefighter history.
You know what comes after.
You have this beautiful life. You have these horrible experiences, yes, but you can do something with them for the greater good.
The Sean Ryan Show Peak Points. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Hey, I'm Reba McEntire. In life, you'll hear a lot of people tell you that you can do anything you want. I'm here to tell you that's true. Since I was a little girl, I dreamed of becoming a successful singer and entertainer. It took a lot of hard work, dedication, and perseverance to find my success, but it was worth it. I never gave up on my dreams. Remember, you can never have a dream come true until you've had a dream. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
My baby brother, a father. Come on, it's time for his nap. Whoa, he can't sleep on his stomach. Babies should always sleep on their backs in a safety-approved crib, and the sleep area should be clear of blankets, toys, and other loose or soft items. It reduces the risk of SIDS.
SIDS?
You know, sudden infant death syndrome.
Guess I need to start studying up on safe sleep for little man here. Being his favorite uncle comes with big responsibilities.
For more information, visit safetosleep.nicehd.nih.gov. Sponsored by the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
This is a Fox News Alert History in the Senate. I'm Lisa Lacera.
Do you know you have just broken the record? Do you know how proud this caucus is of you? Do you know how proud America is of you?
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer as New Jersey Democrat Cory Booker breaks the record for speaking uninterrupted on the Senate floor.
At 7:19 p.m. Eastern Time, Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey passed late Senator Strom Thurmond's record for longest floor speech of 24 hours and 18 minutes.
This is not a normal moment in America. This is a crossroads moment in America.
Booker began speaking around 7 p.m. Monday night, criticizing President Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Doge, with Democratic senators joining him on the floor to assist him by asking questions. A White House spokesperson responding to the speech, saying he's looking for an I am Spartacus moment, but is instead a spoof, saying, quote, that didn't work for his failed presidential campaign, and it didn't work to block President Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz on Capitol Hill. Special elections being held today in Wisconsin. There is an election for a seat on the state Supreme Court.
Voting is taking place in the most expensive Supreme Court race in history. It pits liberal Judge Susan Crawford against a conservative Judge Brad Schimmel. Both of them are accusing each other of being bought by outside money.
Fox's Mike Tobin. While in Florida, there are special congressional elections for the seats formerly held by Republicans Mike Waltz and Matt Gaetz. Republican Randy Fine has won the 6th congressional district, Waltz's old seat. Waltz is the national security advisor. Now, Fox News has learned that he used his personal email for government communications. National Security Council spokesman Brian Hughes, in a statement, said this is the latest attempt to distract the American people from President Trump's successful national security agenda that's protecting our nation. America is listening to Fox News.
No property tax hikes for Loudoun County. I'm Sharon Reardon from the Novak Motors News Desk. Good evening. While Fairfax and Montgomery counties consider property tax hikes to close budget gaps, Loudoun County residents will see their property tax rates go down.
The budget approved by the Board of Supervisors Tuesday includes a real property tax rate of 8 cents per $100 of assessed value, 6 cents lower than the current rate. That will decrease the average homeowner's property tax bill by $57 annually. Administrator Tim Hemstreet saying in February,
growth in data center real property continues to reduce the pressure on the residential tax base to fund the growth of services,
allowing the county to decrease the real property tax rate while boosting school funding and increasing first responder pay. Heather Curtis on WMAL and WMAL.com.
And Attorney General Pam Bondi is asking for the death penalty against United Healthcare CEO, killer and Towson native Luigi Mangione. He faces separate federal and state murder charges for the killing. Bondi says the murder of Brian Thompson, an innocent man and father, was a cold-blooded assassination, adding she's telling federal prosecutors to seek the death penalty as part of President Trump's agenda to stop violent crime. Mangione's pleaded not guilty to state charges and has not yet entered a plea to the federal charges. And Maryland's lone congressional Republican would like to see a specific matchup for governor next year.
Larry Hogan can run for another term. He just can't run for a third consecutive term, but it wouldn't be consecutive.
U.S. Representative Andy Harris telling WMAL's O'Connor and Company with the new taxes looming and a $3 billion deficit in Maryland, he would support a third term for former Governor Hogan.
He demonstrated to Marylanders that when they were worried about taxing and spending, Larry Hogan's their choice.
Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
WMAL News Time is 8:04. I'm Sharon Reardon, and now here's your WMAL traffic and weather from the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
On the BW Parkway and Greenbelt northbound side is stop and go from Nasogata to 197. On the Beltway, local lanes, outer loop in Oxon Hill, accident in the right shoulder at 210. Traffic is jammed from Van Dorn Street in Virginia. In Virginia, on the inner loop of the Beltway in McLean, it's slow from the Dulles Toll Road to the Clara Barton Parkway. In Montgomery County on the inner loop, that's stop and go from Connecticut Avenue to George Avenue. And on 95 in Virginia, southbound in Newington, stop and go from the Fairfax County Parkway to 123. And now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Storm Watch 7 forecast.
Tonight, mostly clear, low around 41. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high near 62.
It's how we build our schools. It's how we build our workplaces. It's how we build our homes. It's how we build our futures.
Whether it's commercial or residential, Patriot Contractors is ready to help with your building or remodeling needs, locally and veteran-owned. Learn more about Patriot Contractors at patriotcontractorsusa.com or call them at 615-489-0578.
If you've never had a chip cooked in beef tallow, get ready. Masa chips are made the old school way. No seed oils, no weird ingredients, just real food, corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed tallow. The crunch is insane, the taste is real, and you actually feel good after eating them because staying on top of your game starts with what you put in your body. Go to masachips.com and use code MM30 for 30% off your first order. Masa Chips. Real ingredients, unreal crunch.
Hey, y'all. As a growing family, my husband and I love game night, especially when it's Wayfair edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, Mark Levin.
Here, our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. This is the Power Hour, and in the state of Wisconsin, this is the hour that will determine your fate. I'm not kidding. It will determine your fate, as well as have the effects on the country. But this will determine your fate. What kind of state you want to have. You're going to get a one-party state if this liberal judge wins. I'm convinced of it. You're going to blow out 2 Republican representatives, and what's left of the Republican bare majority in parts of the state, that'll be blown out too, because they're going to change the boundaries to make sure that the Republicans can't win. They're going to make it a one-party state. This is what happened in California. And then when they get the one-party state, they change the voting system. And they change the rules so you don't have competitive races anymore. This is pure fascism and Marxism, and that's what they are. You have a Supreme Court justice running around, running for office, telling her base that this is what she's going to do. I mean, can you imagine? Seems to me that's unethical, but apparently not. If you're a Democrat, that's okay, according to other Democrats. And you know, the Democrats like their billionaires. They have Soros, who's worth about 38 billion. He's been pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into his causes, causing mayhem and crime and all kinds of stuff going on in this country. He's a real sleazeball. I understand his son's a real scumbag too. May I use that word? I just did. I said son, didn't I? But apparently son isn't one of the 7 dirty words. And so here you have the Secretary of State, Secretary of State in Wisconsin, another whacked out Democrat. Of course, she's giving her opinion on MSNBC, filled with whacked out Democrats. They're very upset that Elon Musk is spending his money on these races. Again, I want to tell you, there's some nimrods and boneheads on our side who attack Elon Musk. I don't agree with Elon Musk on everything, including Ukraine, but that's okay. That's the way it goes. But they say he's a problem. He's a this, he's a that. He needs to be removed. No, he doesn't. Look at Twitter now, or X. What was it before him? Look at the federal government. Donald Trump knows how important Elon Musk is. Look what he's exposed. Look at the money and time and effort he's put into getting Donald Trump elected and others. And look what he's doing now. He doesn't have to bend a finger on any of this. They keep telling us government contracts. Man has lost billions, tens of billions of dollars buying Twitter, the attacks on his businesses. To listen to these Democrats who are suckling on the government's you-know-what from the day they're born, talking about one of the great entrepreneurs, government contracts. He doesn't survive on government contracts. As he says, I'm the most transparent man on the face of the earth. And they never talk about what these contracts are. He's helped save NASA. There's one contract. He saved 2 astronauts. More than any one of these Democrats have ever done. But let me circle back. Sarah Godlewski, That's her name, the Secretary of State in Wisconsin on MSLSD today. Listen to this. Cut 14, go.
So what do you see as the stakes of this race? Because Elon Musk says the fate of Western civilization is in the balance.
Okay, that low IQ mouthpiece, her name is Ana Cabrera. She poses as a journalist. But then again, don't they all? Go ahead.
Well, the stakes couldn't be any higher because, look, we currently right now have a court that supports our democracy and that supports our rights.
In other words, a radical left-wing court, 4-3. So they're for democracy and they're for our rights. Good little Marxists who use propaganda to describe their opponents as who they are. Go ahead.
Just recently saw how our Wisconsin Supreme Court overturned these egregious gerrymandered legislative maps where politicians were...
No, they didn't. Yes, politicians are supposed to make determinations on districts, you moron. That's the way it works. They've been doing it since the beginning of the Republic, not judges. And so what they did is they blew out a ton of Republican districts, a ton of them, to try and take over the legislature. And you see, that's democracy. When they do it, it's democracy. They're protecting rights. Go ahead.
And then in 2020, we saw how Wisconsin's Supreme Court stopped Donald Trump from trying to overturn the will of the people here by just one vote. And so Elon Musk understands the stakes.
What did you just say there, Rich? Can you go back and play that, please? I didn't understand. Well, then take it from the top if you have to.
So what do you see as the stakes of this race? Because Elon Musk says the fate of Western civilization is in the balance.
Well, the stakes couldn't be any higher because, look, we currently right now have a court that supports our democracy and that supports our rights. You know, we most recently saw how our Wisconsin Supreme Court overturned these egregious gerrymandered legislative maps where politicians were picking voters. And then in 2020, we saw how Wisconsin's Supreme Court stopped Donald Trump from trying to overturn the will of the people here by just one vote. And so Elon Musk understands the stakes. It's why he's put over 20 million.
Thank you. God, these people are sick. Is there another word for the sick? They keep throwing around the word democracy. They want judicial tyranny, and they keep throwing around the word democracy. This is what they do, you know. The People's Republic of China. They keep throwing around the word people in China. All these fascistic Marxist regimes do the same thing. This is what they do. Now let's take a look at the first congressional district in Florida now that the polls have closed with 65% of the vote in, Mr. Producer. It's 51.1% to 48.2%. The Republicans leading, by the way. So we'll see how that goes. The lead in the Randy Fine race is now by over 11% for Randy Fine. So that's a blowout, 55.2% to 44.1%. But it should have been by 30%. You can hear all the spinners. Again, put them out of your mind. This is a clear victory in Florida's 6th congressional district, 91% of the vote in, 55 to 44. I'm sure Josh Wheel, the Marxist Islamist, would have died to have the 55. But it's a big win. Now, it's not the Mike Waltz win, but, you know, when you have an incumbent that wins 2 or 3 times, they always build up the numbers, don't they, Rich? I think so. Because people are used to the incumbent. They vote for the incumbent. So this guy, this is his first race for the House in this district, surely. Or any district. And it's a good victory by over 11 points. It may be more by the time it's over, but 91% of the vote in, he's got 55.2%. And his communist Islamist opponent has 44%. And if his communist Islamist opponent runs against him again, I predict that Randy Fine's numbers will skyrocket. Because that's the way it works. 65% of the vote in Matt Gaetz' old district, which, by the way, is Joe Scarborough's old district. When Joe Scarborough was actually a conservative Republican for about 14 days. Oh, yeah. 51 to 48%. That one's much tighter, 67%. But we'll see, because it depends what towns are coming in, and we don't know that. But we do know this. In 45 minutes, the polls in Wisconsin close. In 45 minutes. Now you might say, you know what? It's too late. I'm in my pickup. I'm in my car. No, it's not too late. Go to your voting place now. Right now. They're not expecting you to do it. Go to your voting place right now and go vote. It's that simple. And if you don't think your vote matters, it matters. If this election is lost by 5,000, 10,000, 12,000 votes for the for the Supreme Court justice, she serves for 10 years. And she's a bomb thrower. She is Bernie Sanders bomb thrower. Excuse me. That's why all this money's pouring in from the usual, Marxist corners of the country. So it's very, very important. As I sit here, the Florida 1st Congressional District, it is growing, 74% of the vote in. The Republican has a little over 52%. The Democrat has a little under 47%. I think that race is over, but just a matter of time and how much the Republican has beaten the Democrat by. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
If you've never had a chip cooked in beef tallow, get ready. Masa chips are made the old school way. No seed oils, no weird ingredients, just real food, corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed tallow. The crunch is insane, the taste is real, and you actually feel good after eating them, because staying on top of your game starts with what you put in your body. Go to MasaChips.com and use code MM30 for 30% off your first order. Masa Chips. Real ingredients, unreal crunch.
Hey, weekend warriors. How's a little trail therapy sound right now? Hop in. Let's go for a ride in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Tune out all those work emails and turn up that twin-turbo V6 engine. Instead of letting the kids play online, show them some epic inclines. Turn your 8-person family dinner into an exhilarating off-road adventure. The all-new Nissan Armada is here. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Hey, y'all. As a growing family, my husband and I love game night, especially when it's Wayfair edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting Wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflush.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe, and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflush.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflush.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free, so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflush.com.
75 years of research, 75 years of policy,
75 years of opportunity,
75 years of freedom.
This is 75 years of the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
Nor should you.
Now, millions of Americans are turning to Newsmax. Nielsen reports almost 30 million Americans tuned into Newsmax last quarter. And President Trump is one. He watches Newsmax and says it's terrific. So tune in tonight to watch Rob Finnerty's series, The Big Media's War on Trump. Every night, Rob Finnerty is exposing their big lies and gives you the straight talk you want. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems or download the free Newsmax app on your phone or home TV now. Millions have made the switch to Newsmax. You should too.
Making sense of your world.
I agree with everything you're saying.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
My heart just breaks for what's going on.
Making sense of the news. Breaking news and the inside story on 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
All right. Here left Wisconsin. Florida delivered 2 Republican congressmen. It'd be a damnable shame if we lose in Wisconsin and if we lose 2 Republican congressmen. That would be a damnable shame. It truly would be. So we're all counting on particularly the Republicans in Wisconsin, to get out there and do the right thing. So we don't have that kind of a situation on our hands, which would be pretty disastrous, really, I would say. So what am I having trouble finding? What did you want me to do, Rich? I'm looking. Yeah. Let me see here a second. Can you resend? No, it's right here. You know, only 2 things in life are certain: death and taxes, but now there's a third certainty. Oh, yeah. If you were one of the big wireless providers, AT&T, T-Mobile, or Verizon, how do you like them? Well, it's no big deal. Well, you're overpaying. Do you know that? And they're not patriotic companies like our company, Pure Talk, which was founded by a veteran. You could be saving a fortune every month by switching to Pure Talk. A fortune. They're my sponsor. They're my cell phone company. I mean, they're cutting fat from the wireless industry. That's what they're doing. For just $25 a month, listen to this, $25 a month, you can get unlimited talk, text, 5 gigs of data on America's most dependable 5G network. The average family of 4 saves over $1,000 a year, money in your pocket. Same service. When they switch to Pure Talk, that's real money. And with Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you actually understand what they're saying. You can switch hassle-free in as little as 10 minutes. It's not a pain in the neck. I know a lot of you think, oh, I've got it, I'm fine, I'll pay more. No, you don't have to do that. You can even keep your phone and your phone number. So do this, dial pound 250. Do it now, see what I'm talking about. Dial pound 250. I can do this. Dial pound 250. Say the keyword Mark Levin. That's 250. Say the keyword Mark Levin. Make the switch. And you'll save an additional 50% of your first month. Again, dial pound 250. Say Mark Levin. Start saving today. Pure Talk. Wireless by Americans for Americans. This is one of those companies that you want to support and that wants to support you. We're like-minded. Not like these big entities. Not like-minded with them. At least I'm not. Pam Bondi announces federal charges against Trump hater accused of Colorado Tesla firebombing. She's hammering away. Pam Bondi seeks death penalty for Luigi Mangione. And unfortunately, it has to be done. She should. He executed that man, shot him straight in the back, and then walked over and shot him again. He faces separate federal and state murder charges. Federal charges include a charge of murder through use of firearm, which carries the possibility of the death penalty. So she's ordered the federal prosecutors to seek the death penalty. That's exactly what should be done. I feel for the family, but It's exactly what needs to be done. In Israel, Israel has announced they're canceling all tariffs on U.S. products. And this is the Trump effect that it ought to occur in every country. Netanyahu said the move aims to strengthen the alliance with the U.S., which is already very strong. Israel announced today it's lifting the tariffs, all of them, at the direction of the prime minister. Netanyahu said the move aims to cultivate more competition in the market. It's another reason these socialist Marxists in Israel hate Netanyahu. There was a point at which he was the minister for the economy. And he brought the market system back to Israel, which was heavily socialistic. And the Israeli economy exploded in growth, investment, particularly technology and building. In many ways, it was his doing. He was the minister of the economy. This man has been such a tremendous asset to that country. They want nothing but to put him in prison, and his wife too. And so the statement was announced by Netanyahu, his minister of finance, his minister of the economy. Because President Trump said, look, we're going to have reciprocal tariffs. And Netanyahu said, okay, we're going to have zero. So zero is reciprocal, 0 and 0. These are two great leaders. You're living in a time when you have two Churchillian-type leaders. It's unbelievable. I mean, it really is unbelievable. The U.S. is Israel's largest trading partner. Bilateral, $34 billion last year. The two allies signed a free trade agreement 40 years ago. 99% of all goods had no tariffs on it between the United States and Israel. 99%, and Netanyahu said today, let's get rid of the other 1%. So they're going to get rid of it. It's not much because there's really no tariffs other than this little piece that's even left. So that's a wonderful thing. Let's see here, is there anything else that I want to bring to your attention? We have two great guests who are coming up, so let me see before I do that. I don't think so, Mr. Producer. Cory Booker has officially set the all-time Senate record for a filibuster. It's not really a filibuster, technically, because he's not filibustering anything. He just got on the floor and couldn't shut up. The way this should really read, the headline is Cory Booker wins the Senate record for the biggest blowhard in American history. So from now on, Cory Booker, you're the biggest blowhard in American history. Biggest blowhard in American history. That's your claim to fame and nothing else, unfortunately. We'll be right back with Senator David McCormick and his wife, the wonderful Tina McCormick. We'll be right back.
The following heartwarming yet informative scene is brought to you by Trust and Will.
Son, your grandpa and I used to work on this car together. And when I'm gone, I want you to have it.
Wow, thanks, Dad. Doesn't count. What you need is a will. Luckily, Trust and Will makes it easy. Designed by attorneys, but customized by you, you can easily create a state-specific, legally valid document that actually counts. Now, let's let the engine do the talking, am I right? Start your will at trustandwill.com. Use offer code MARK for 20% off and make it count. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. For details, see trustandwill.com.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
Oh, it's awful, huh?
My brother got life insurance from Ethos and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Hey, weekend warriors, how's a little trail therapy sound right now? Hop in. Let's go for a ride in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Tune out all those work emails and turn up that twin-turbo V6 engine. Instead of letting the kids play online, show them some epic inclines. Turn your 8-person family dinner into an exhilarating off-road adventure. The all-new Nissan Armada is here. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Illuminating the issues.
There's a whole lot missing here in this story, isn't there?
Every day.
Why are we the only ones reporting this?
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
The Sean Ryan Show presents Peak Points. Get timeless inspiration from the very best of The Sean Ryan Show.
September 11th happens. What is the first thing that went through your head? September 12th, I'm going back in the military.
Talk about being recruited by the cartel. How do you go? Just learning how to find a new normal.
One of the most tragic events in American firefighter history. You know what comes after.
You have this beautiful life. You have these horrible experiences, yes, but you can do something with them for the greater good.
The Sean Ryan Show Peak Points. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Why did I wait so long to see a retina specialist?
Retinal disease can steal your eyesight, but it doesn't have to. Patients who seek care from a retina specialist have the best chance of preventing vision loss due to age-related macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy. AMD symptoms to look out for are distortion or warping of straight lines, as well as blurred or loss of central vision. Patients with diabetic retinopathy should seek treatment if they notice the appearance of spots or floaters or blurred and distorted vision. Visit seeforalifetime.org.
This is Women's Work with Nicole Khalil. I wish you health, physical, mental, emotional, financial, social, and most definitely spiritual. Redefining what it means to be doing women's work.
I would rather have the temporary pain of discomfort than the avoidable pain of regret.
But hear me when I say this. Believe in something. Believe in yourself. That, more than anything, is absolutely woman's work. This is Women's Work from Believe. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
We're the stronger than we look type.
I've had type 1 diabetes since I was 2.
The braver than you think type.
I have to take insulin shots every single day.
The type that will stop at nothing.
No more blood sugar tests.
Absolutely nothing.
No more complications.
Until type 1 becomes type none.
Support JDRF's life-changing research, and one day you'll say, I helped turn type 1 into type none. Join us now at jdrf.org.
75 years of research, 75 years of policy,
75 years of opportunity,
75 years of freedom.
This is 75 years of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Join us at mda75.org.
Searching HVAC near here.
Right here, ma'am. How can we help?
Wow, nobody local? Huh.
Wait, what? We are an HVAC company literally in your neighborhood. Why is she not seeing us?
Just all the big chains. Well, it is what it is.
What in the... Can you not see us?
Nope, they can't see you because you're buried deep in the list of local HVAC providers. You are invisible online. Introducing Cumulus Boost. Get a boost, get found, get on the map. Learn more at cumulusboost.com.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true, to help them fight a critical illness. Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. You can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Making sense of your world.
I agree with you 100%.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
There's a lot of us out there.
Making sense of the news. WMAL. Making sense of education. Because what's happening in your kid's school matters. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
But within the thunder on the right. Call in now. 877-381-3811.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next guests, I love Julie and I have gotten to know and really like these folks. And you're familiar very much with both of them. Senator David McCormick and his wonderful wife, Dina Powell McCormick, who in her own right is quite a record and accomplishment. But here's the thing. They've written a book and they've spoken to people in a way that's never done. And this book isn't about politics or economics or philosophy. It's about helping people. And the book's called Who Believed in You? How Purposeful Mentorship Changes the World. You know, in this show, I've had many substitutes. And they've gone on to big things. Dan Bongino, Ben Shapiro, other guys and gals, and they're out there. They know who they are. And they're fantastic. And I feel that's important because I'm not going to be around forever. And other people, and they have stepped up. They have their own shows. They're syndicated and so forth and so on. Our subs right now are absolutely fantastic. Same thing. And that's what they're talking about. So I wanted you to hear what they had to say, their experiences and who they spoke to. And I don't know who to begin with. I'm going to start with the better of the two, if you don't mind, Dave. I'm going to start with Dina. Dina, how are you?
You got it right, Mark. You got it right.
That's why I'm married, you know.
Well,
yeah.
Mark, thank you so much for having us. It's always an honor to be with you. As you were just talking, something hit me, which is so many people call you the great one, including President Trump. It just hit me. We should call you the great mentor. The great mentor.
You're
because
sweet.
of all of the people that you have mentored.
But you know what, Dina? They used to call me the great big one when I was 35 pounds heavy, to be perfectly honest with you. So this book is fantastic. So what caused you and Dave to, and all the things you do and so forth, to write a book about mentorship, give examples, interview people, because you feel this is so important?
Sure. Well, just like you and Julie probably experienced during COVID, we had a lot of time with our kids. We have 6 daughters between us, and we realized that they had lost so much more than high school graduations and prom and, those kinds of events. They lost almost 3 years of human connection, which means they lost 3 years of the mentors that all of us had, the people that believed in us, that changed the course of our life. And I guess to put it as succinctly as I can, I think that we're all on this earth to find God's purpose for our life. And you can't do that as easily if you don't have people mentoring you, guiding you, being honest with you, giving you tough love. And so we wrote this book talking to lots of amazing people, many of your favorites. And what we realized is everybody has somebody like that. And our great hope is that Who Believed in You, this book, really reignites a mentoring movement. And Americans, whatever their background, high school coaches, teachers, whatever their background, realize if you invest in one person, you can make our country stronger. And we're particularly proud that all the proceeds of this book go to veterans and mentoring organizations.
Well, that's fantastic. And I have to tell you, after reading your book, it really hadn't occurred to me. You do these things. You should do these things for each generation, the next generation. And Dave, you're running for the Senate. You got a lot going on, and you decide with your lovely wife, we really have to put time aside to do this project. Why was this so important to you?
Well, when we started, Mark, and again, thank you for having us. When we started talking about this with our kids, we began to talk to some of our close friends. And as I said, they all had one or two people that had made the huge difference. And so we wanted to capture that, which is the book has all these very famous people that you'll know, but the book's not about the famous people. The book is about the people you've never heard of that help them become who they are. And the key message is that every single one of us can make a huge difference by helping someone find their purpose. And in many cases, like the people in the book, that purpose can go on in ways that has huge benefit for our communities and our country. And that was a message that was so important. So we really finished the book before I started to run, but we thought probably not best to roll this out during a campaign, but we didn't want to lose the message. And what we saw time and again is that those people, when we talked to them, we asked them 3 questions. First, who believed in you? And they had great answers. And then second, have you had a chance to thank them? And we said time and again, many of the people we talked to said, oh, I wish I would have told them how much they meant to me. And then the third question is, what are you doing to pay it forward? What are you doing to believe in someone else to help them make their, find their purpose and make a difference? And as you said, we all have just a moment on this earth, and life goes so quickly. What are you going to be remembered by? And I think one of the things we all want to be remembered by is the people that we helped become their best selves.
And while you're in the Senate, I know you're busy. I know Dean is very, very busy. Is this something you're still doing, mentoring other people?
I think once you've become as committed to it as Dean and I do, I think you do it almost naturally. And the reason you do it is not only because you want to make a difference for someone's life, it's because it's one of the things that you take the most fulfillment in. It's, people sometimes think of mentorship as a one-way street. This you helping the younger person. No, it's not that way at all. In fact, for someone who mentors, it can become one of the most fulfilling experiences because you're really helping someone achieve their best selves, find their purpose, and make a difference. And so I'd like to believe that I do this as a natural part of just being a leader every day, and that's what we're encouraging others to do.
And Dina, you have 6 daughters between the two of you. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of time. You have time still to do a book like this and to focus on mentoring other people. How do you do that?
Well, obviously, because I have an amazing husband, right, Mark?
Yeah.
No, actually,
He is.
He is. No, they are the big blessings of our lives, of course. But we really wanted to push them a little bit. If you go to whobelievedyou.com, we tell the stories of amazing women that I want them to look up to, like Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And guess who her 2 mentors were? Her extraordinary father. We could not be more proud that he will represent our nation to our greatest ally, Israel, as ambassador to Israel. But also, he was the person that gave her the confidence that she had. And second person she talks about is President Trump in a really dark moment for Sarah. And she talks about this in the book when, as White House press secretary, she was being attacked relentlessly. And even on personal things like looks, and she was really down. And President Trump took her aside and he said, I'm going to tell you something. I wouldn't have you in this job if I did not believe in you. I am so proud of you. I think you are so smart and you are not going to ever let them see you sweat. She said that one sentence from President Trump changed her whole outlook. She almost thought about leaving, Mark, at that time. She went on to serve him for a whole nother year. The first mom as White House press secretary, she did an incredible job. And those are the kinds of moments that really change somebody's life. And we believe that telling these stories will encourage lots of people to take that moment. You don't have to be president or a fancy senator or even the most successful radio talk show host. You really can be a high school teacher. Of course, that's your mission every day, but everybody can make a difference in somebody's life.
Yeah, Mark, let me give you one more example, which is it was phenomenal when we learned this. But one of our friends and the person we admire is Satya Nadella, who is the CEO of Microsoft. Probably, I think many would view as one of the most successful, maybe the most successful CEO in the country. And he tells a story about being kind of a mid-level guy. He was a software developer at Microsoft. And a gentleman sold his company to Microsoft called Great Plains, and came to Microsoft and was responsible for the software division at Microsoft and ultimately supervised Satya and became a great friend and mentor and got to know Satya's parents, and they worked together for years. And then this executive went on and became the governor of North Dakota and our current Interior Secretary, Doug Burgum. And Doug Burgum mentored Satya Nadella, and when they were trying to decide who should be the next CEO of Microsoft, there was this long shot candidate. And Steve Ballmer, who was the CEO of Microsoft at the time, called Doug Burgum. And Doug Burgum said, you got to hire Satya Nadella. I know this man. He's very special. He's going to be a very successful CEO. That's the power. He saw something in Satya that I'm not sure Satya even saw in himself. It's the same with Sarah Huckabee and so on. That's the power of mentorship.
Folks, this is a very important book. Any more than that, it's very inspiring. You can get it on Amazon.com right now. I encourage you to grab it, get it right away. It literally just came out today. Today is the first day of publication. And it is an absolutely fantastic book. Who Believed in You? How Purposeful Mentorship Changes the World. How Purposeful Mentorship Changes her. And when it's all said and done, Dina and David, and when our time is up, it's not going to be who was the radio host, who was the senator, who was this, who was that. It's going to be the people you directly affect, the people who you've actually helped. And you don't even have to do a lot to help them. Just be there, right?
That's it.
Amen.
That's it,
Amen.
Mark.
Just be there. Just be there for them. Absolutely.
It's a great book, and you have a number of people in here the audience would be familiar with, and the audience would like too. You have Condoleezza Rice. She has a fantastic story. The book is very, very riveting as you start it, plain English, and it really does make you want to do something nice for somebody, and that's the thing. What I really like about this book is all the arrows and all back and forth and all, it's necessary. It's democracy. That's what we're fighting over. But then every now and then you get to step back and say, okay, in my own life, how do I want to lead it? And this gives you some very, very great advice here. When you started this project, did you think you'd actually be writing a book? I mean, you've been mentoring the two of you and so forth. Did you think you'd put it down in black and white?
Well, let me say this, Mark. If you can survive, if your marriage can survive COVID, 6 daughters, a losing campaign, a winning campaign, and writing a book, you're destined. So we did not start with a book in mind, but we accomplished a book together, and we're very, very proud of the fact we did it together. And Dina, I've written a book by myself, and I've written a book with Dina, and the book I wrote with Dina is going to be much more successful. There's no doubt about it.
Well, Mark, I'll tell you something. We actually started, the very first thing we did was come and talk to you on your show. We were at West Point Sunday night, and it all just hit me. We were there with 1,500 cadets, the young men and women who protect our country, the next generation. And Vinny Viola, a great West Pointer, had just surprised us, and he bought a book for every single cadet at West Point. I know it. And we were there. Unbelievable. We said, Vinny, man, we're so honored. He said, I want them to know right now they need mentors, and they can be mentors. They are young men and women that our country should not only value, we should look up to them now as cadets. And we had goosebumps sitting there with the superintendent and the dean and these extraordinary young men and women. When we said, who's from Pennsylvania? We got a lot of cheers. Lots of them were from Pennsylvania. And they all were lined up to talk to us after, really genuinely asking, how do I ask for a mentor? How do I be a good mentor? And I thought, boy, those are the role models for our kids right there and for our country. So kids who are fighting for America, we couldn't be more proud of, and you can help fight for America by believing in somebody.
So, folks, I want to strongly encourage you, by the time we get off the air here, grab your copy. Don't forget, you can go to Amazon.com, any major bookstore. But if you order on Amazon, I'm looking right now, you'll get it tomorrow. If you order it in the next couple hours, you'll get it tomorrow. Excuse me. And I think this is a book that's really going to influence your life in a very, very positive way. As a matter of fact, if you're already doing this and you don't realize you're doing it, it's going to make you feel great about what you're doing. It's a very uplifting book. That's what it is. It's a very uplifting book. I want to encourage you to get, these are two wonderful people. They have a wonderful marriage. Senator David McCormick. Dina, what do we call you? Tell people what your positions have been. I know, but tell America a little about you.
Oh, my goodness. That's so kind of you. I'm a Coptic Christian immigrant from Cairo, Egypt. My family moved to Texas when I was 5 years old. I didn't speak English, learned English fairly quickly. Texan took me a lot longer, I like to say. I was waitressing in Austin, Texas to pay for college when my mentor, Kay Bailey Hutchison, said, come to D.C. I said, boy, Senator, that sounds nice, but my parents will kill me because they moved from Cairo so their girls could become doctors, lawyers, or engineers, not politicians. Exactly. And I really wanted to do it. Anyway, I ended up going, and that one person took a chance on me. It eventually led me to serve 2 presidents, and I had a career at Goldman Sachs where I created some of the world's most effective mentoring programs. But to then go full circle, Mark, and I'll end with this, to be an immigrant from Cairo, Egypt, frankly, from a discriminated Christian community, to one day serve President Trump when he accomplished the Abraham Accords. I always say, only in America, and only because a few people believed in me. And so we're really honored to be on with you tonight and honored by this book.
And Dave has a fantastic background, too, that you're familiar with, ladies and gentlemen. 2 very, very good people. I encourage you to get this book, Who Believed in You? How Purposeful Mentorship Changes in the World. Go to Amazon.com right now. It's well discounted. That's the way it is. When a new book comes out, they discount it. Grab it while you can. You're going to love this book. It's going to make you feel great. And it actually may make you do a few things you haven't thought about. The book is Who believe in you. God bless you too. We appreciate this book and both of you.
God bless you, Mark. Thank you so much. Thank you to Julie. We're grateful for you.
You bet.
Thank you, Mark.
Likewise.
God bless you. Thanks for having us tonight. Thanks.
It's always an honor. You take care. Tell you something, folks. That is a beautiful couple. A wonderful couple. Don't say that about a lot of people, but I'm saying it about them. Grab your copy, Who Believed in You? How Purposeful Mentorship Changes the World. Go to Amazon.com. It's on all my social sites. We'll be right back.
News Talk 105.9.
I'm getting tired, so I'm going to bed. I'll be back later. I don't feel like doing a panel.
To become a canine companions for independence assistance dog for a person with a disability. To get there, she needs lots of love and care and attention, plenty of exercise, and good eating habits so that she can live a long and healthy life for